Chapter 80. From that day onwards, Yi Qingqiu finally understood what it meant to live a life worse than death. She didn't know what method that man used to save her life, but she really wished that she had died with Long Ju at that time. Not only did she have to serve him, she also had to go out and catch young and beautiful virgins for him to enjoy. He no longer needed women with water spirit veins. As long as it was a woman who hadn't lost her virginity, he would want her. It wasn't that she hadn't thought of running away, but she would be caught every time. The punishment of being caught was something she couldn't bear. After that, she didn't dare to run away anymore. Because her body had been nourished well for so many years, she was like a tonic to him that needed to be slowly digested. As long as she obediently listened to him, her days would be considered passable. The most miserable ones were the young girls she caught. They were tortured to the point that they were unrecognizable. So many women have gone missing recently. This matter has already alarmed the higher-ups. I heard that they've already sent people to investigate. Who knows if it's those demons? Sure, do you want to die? The cultivation world is now the demons' territory. Don't say such things in the future. Yi Qingqiu walked past them expressionlessly. Had she already attracted the demons' attention? Returning to her village, Yi Qingqiu lowered her head and said to the man sitting cross-legged on the bed, "The demon has already discovered that people have gone missing. Should we go somewhere else?" It wasn't that she hadn't thought of using the demon to deal with him, but this man held her life in his hands. If he died, she wouldn't be able to live either. They've discovered it so quickly? The man snorted. Forget it. This sovereign can't go against Jun Wuqi for now. Once this sovereign recovers his strength, the demon monarch will be this sovereign sooner or later. Yi Qingqiu raised her head to look at him. The man was staring at her with a strange glint in his eyes. Yi Qingqiu's heart skipped a beat and she clutched her clothes tightly. The man pulled Yi Qingqiu onto the bed. The two of them hid in the cultivation world. When the demon noticed something was wrong, they immediately changed locations. More and more people went missing in the cultivation world, and this matter directly alarmed Jun Wuqi. There were very few women in the demon race, so those who went missing were mostly female cultivators. This matter had already affected the order of the cultivation world, so it had to be investigated. The contest between Jun Wuqi and the man lasted for a long time. In the end, Jun Wuqi won. "Don't kill me. He forced me to do this. Don't kill me, don't kill me." Yi Qingqiu lay on the ground, barely breathing. Her appearance was a little old, but it didn't affect her beauty. She was crying miserably and looked quite pitiful. "Yi Qingqiu, you only have yourself to blame for this. You released that demon and used several hundred years to let him recover his strength," Jun Wuqi said without the slightest bit of sympathy. "It wasn't me. He was the one who took the initiative to form a contract with me. It was him. It wasn't my fault. Why would he do this to me? It was clearly him." Yi Qingqiu stuttered. "It's all his fault. It's that demon. He's the one who ruined me. And Shang Shu, that bitch. She wanted to kill her." Jun Wuqi shook his head. "Have you forgotten why you made a contract with him?" Yi Qingqiu's ferocious expression suddenly calmed down. "You were the one who stole someone else's belongings, so you were hunted down and fell off a cliff in the end. Yi Qingqiu, you reaped what you sowed. You can't blame anyone else." "I reaped what I sowed? Ha ha ha, I reaped what I sowed. No, that's not it. It was Shang Shu who killed my master. That's why I ended up in this state. It's all Shang Shu's fault." Seeing the hatred in Yi Qingqiu's eyes, Jun Wuqi didn't say anything else and ordered someone to end Yi Qingqiu's life. Shi Shang received Jun Wuqi's news the day before her wedding. Yes, Feng Ci was going to marry her. Although no one would attend the wedding. Yi Qingqiu was dead, so her mission was complete. The rest of the time belonged to her. Her and Feng Ci's. "Xiaoshu, do you like crowds?" Feng Ci came in from outside and asked Shi Shang with a smile. "If you like it, I'll get people to attend our wedding." Even if those people didn't come, he had a way to make them come. "It's not like you're marrying them." Why would you let them occupy the place? Even if they came, it would be out of fear. They wouldn't give their blessings sincerely. How boring. Feng Xi's lips curved into a smile, his dark red eyes filled with warmth. He didn't like showing Xiaoshu to others. Xiaoshu belonged to him alone. On the day of the wedding, a few uninvited guests came. The first was Jun Wuqi. At that time, Feng Xi's face was as dark as the clouds of a tribulation. Just treat the wedding as a lively event. What's the meaning of hiding from the wedding? Jun Wuqi ignored Feng Xi's expression and put down the gift with a smile. Here, these are the famous hell butterflies of the demon world. Jun Wuqi opened the box. Black butterflies with golden patterns flew out of the box and flew around Shi Shang and Feng Xi in an orderly manner. A newcomer blessed by the hell butterfly will live to a ripe old age, Jun Wuqi said in a deadpan manner. Feng Xi, who was about to set the butterflies on fire, immediately retracted the flames. But these hell butterflies are poisonous. Jun Wuqi looked at Shi Shang ambiguously and immediately left. I won't disturb you anymore. Congratulations on your wedding. In the end, the group of hell butterflies couldn't escape the fate of being set on fire. The second uninvited guests were Bai Lang and Lin Yi. Lin Yi was as noisy as before. Time didn't seem to have left any traces on her. Junior sister, congratulations. Bai Lang sincerely congratulated her and handed over the gift he had prepared. Thank you, senior brother. Shi Shang smiled and took it. Martial uncle, you're so beautiful. Oh, I want to marry you. Lin Yi pulled Shi Shang and spun him around a few times. In the end, Bai Lang saw that Feng Xi was about to set the fire and pulled his wife back. I just want to ask, how did you guys come up? This was the celestial world. How did these two guys who hadn't ascended yet come up? Lin Yi blinked. Martial uncle, don't you know? Now that the cultivation world is the territory of the demon race, we can enter the demon world freely. From there, we can go to the celestial world. Shi Shang. He didn't know there was such a route. Bai Lang and Lin Yi stayed behind to watch the ceremony. The third uninvited guest was actually Lu Zhong. He represented the celestial world at the wedding. Lu Zhong was crying inside. Why was he always the one getting hurt? The celestial world. Because you're the general manager of the celestial world. Sacrificing yourself to benefit the celestial world, General Manager Lu, you can do it. Shi Shang and Feng Xi's wedding was simple. From start to finish, it took less than 10 minutes. After the ceremony, the two disappeared. Bai Lang, Lin Yi, and Lu Zhong were left staring at each other. This was ridiculous. They'd never seen a wedding like this. The guests were still here. The book will be on the shelves tomorrow. I'm very nervous. This rich baby hopes to be given a subscription. It's best if it's in book currency. Book coupons will affect my initial subscription. Please use book currency to subscribe. Please use book currency to subscribe. Please use book currency to subscribe. This poor baby can support someone at the wedding. Finally, please use book currency. Chapter 81. On the peak of the North Mountain, two red figures stood together. Shi Shang looked at the grave with a tombstone. A set of clothes was scattered beside the grave. It was Yu Zhao's. After burying Yu Zhao's clothes and setting up the tombstone, Shi Shang bowed politely. Seeing that Feng Xi didn't respond, she glared at him. Feng Xi looked at her innocently. Why was Xiaoshu glaring at him? Did he not look good today? Shi Shang was speechless. He forced him to bow. Shi Shang stood in silence for a while, then went down the mountain with Feng Xi. She couldn't understand such deep love, but she respected it. Yu Xiao was a great person who was willing to give up his life for someone. When they returned to Feng Xi's palace, Lu Zhong had already left. Lin Yi and Bai Lang were still there. Shi Shang told Bai Lang about Yu Xiao. Bai Lang said he wanted to see Yu Xiao, so he left with Lin Yi. Xiao Shu. Feng Xi stood beside Shishang. From today onwards, you are my wife. I will protect you with my life. Shishang's heart inexplicably skipped a beat as she stared blankly at Feng Xi. Only when she felt the warmth on her lips did she shrink back. Feng Xi paused as he patiently waited for Shishang to get used to it. After a while, Shishang responded. Shishang didn't know until the next day that Jun Wuqi said the butterfly was poisonous. He even gave her an ambiguous look. Damn, that was an aphrodisiac. And it had an incubation period. For a long time, Shishang and Feng Xi were immersed in love and being loved. When the aphrodisiac's effect wore off, Shishang immediately went to the devil world to take revenge on Jun Wuqi. Shishang found that Jun Wuqi was also a troublemaker. He wanted her to take revenge and this matter would be over, but he just had to take revenge. So the devil world was in chaos almost every day. The Devil King was awarded the Grand Master Medal for destroying buildings. The Devil King is being hunted down again. I woke up early in the morning and saw the Devil King hanging on the tree in front of my house. The Devil King fell from the sky when having sex. I feel like I won't be able to have sex anymore. People from the immortal world send congratulations. Congratulatory messages from the cultivators. Congratulations from the people of the demon world. What the hell is the demon realm? There's no demon realm here. What are you doing here? Congratulations from the people of the underworld. Demons are crying. Shishang had stayed in the world of cultivation for nearly 10,000 years. During these 10,000 years, she had harmed many places. Almost everyone knew her name. She even wanted to provoke a war between the worlds. At the crucial moment, the rulers of the realms came together and decided that they couldn't be fooled. The people of the 5 realms were united like never before. Since she couldn't start a war, she went to provoke those clans to fight. However, after she was done, she didn't care anymore. How could there be such a person? Immortal. I beg the heavenly Tao to be destroyed. Before Shishang died, he released Pudding. Pudding didn't like her and rarely came out. When Shishang asked it to leave, it showed a kind expression for the first time and left without looking back. Shishang could only scold him for being heartless. And Feng Xi seemed to know something. He hugged her all day long and refused to let go. It was as if she would disappear if he let go. Xiao Shu. Xiao Shu. He called her name again and again. Shishang propped herself up and looked into his eyes. She said solemnly, Feng Xi, I'm very grateful for the time you spent with me. I won't forget you. Feng Xi had never betrayed her in such a long time. Shishang knew that she was used to him being by her side. But what was this? It was just a virtual world. Xiao Shu. Feng Xi's voice trembled. Don't be sad. Don't be sad for me. It's not worth it. Shishang smiled and reached out her hand. Her fingertips lingered on Feng Xi's face. She said slowly, I actually want to die with you. Look, she was such an evil person. When Feng Xi heard her words, the gloominess on his face disappeared. There was a smile in his eyes. Okay, we'll die together. Wherever Xiao Shu is, I'll be there. Shishang stared at him in a daze. She suddenly remembered the second sentence he said when they met for the first time. He said, You're very special. Follow me from now on. Shishang looked down and leaned on him quietly. Feng Xi, you'll be the most special existence in my life. Shishang finally died under everyone's expectations. Immortals couldn't live forever, but a lifespan of 10,000 years was already considered short. You've done too much evil. You finally received your retribution. The people of the 5 realms send their congratulations. But then, Feng Xi also died. The people of the 5 realms were in an uproar. 2 troublemakers were dead? Happiness came unexpectedly. When they returned to the system space, Shishang was still in a daze. She looked at the unfamiliar yet familiar scene. It took her a while to react. Shishang stood for a while. For the first time, she asked to see what happened. When she saw Feng Si really jump down from the peak of the North Mountain with her corpse in his arms, her heart stopped for a moment. When Feng Si's figure disappeared, a dragon's roar came from afar. Feng Si, why were you so stupid? Shi Shang looked at the scene several times before sitting down on the ground. She held her face in her hands and stared at the screen in a daze. Host, are you sad? No. Shi Shang shook her head. She wasn't sad. She really wasn't sad. Yes, she wasn't sad. It was just that. She didn't know why, but she felt empty beside her. She wasn't used to it. But she really wasn't sad. She just felt a little suffocated. After all, that was the person who had been with her for so long. The system didn't say anything else. Her information appeared on the screen. Name, Shirshing character points, 105000 life points, 15 contribution points, 5000 mission grade, C mission points, 85 hidden mission, completed hidden mission reward, 500 contribution points. Shirshang frowned. Why are my contribution points only 200? Didn't I get 2000 points last time? Also, why is my character so bad again? If this goes on, I won't be able to go back. I warned the host not to take advantage of the situation. In the hidden mission, although Feng Si became the Immortal Emperor, he only became the Immortal Emperor for one day. This means that the mission is completed. 500 contribution points is the minimum. As for your character, you should think about what you did in that world. 5000 points is already the result of my discount. Shirshang. Thinking about how those people cheered after her death, Shirshang felt very complicated. Who asked you to be so cheap? Great, now I have a debt of 5000 points. I think I should bind myself to a villain system. Do you guys support changing the system? It wasn't a dream to guarantee that she would complete the mission and reach the peak of her life. Host, don't daydream. What do you think it is? Change it. Change your head. If you don't want to change it, then don't change it. Why are you so fierce? Shirshang curled her lips and stared at the screen in a daze. The system couldn't understand how the host could hear its fierceness from its electronic voice. Beginning transmission. What the F***CK? Now I don't even need to pretend to ask you? Next time, will you? Shirshang's voice disappeared in the system space. Only then did the system remember that it hadn't done a 360-degree comprehensive physical examination for the host. #congratulations from the people of the 5 realms. The end of alternative cultivation. #the end of the world in the next world. The first batch of babies are all true love, come and touch. Chapter 82. The day I was conferred the title of Lord of the Northern Mountains was also the day she married someone else. At that time, I thought that our interactions would end there. We were childhood sweethearts, and I once thought that I would marry her. We would have adorable children and be together for the rest of our lives, until the end of our lives. Unfortunately, reality dealt me a heavy blow. I don't know when it started, but I gradually drifted away from her. No, to be precise, she was the one who drifted away from me. Even when we met, she would always mention a name. A name I didn't recognize. When she talked about that person, her expression was one I'd never seen before. It was so careful, so sweet. I once wondered if she would look back at me if I told her that I liked her. But reason told me that I couldn't say it. If I said it, perhaps we wouldn't even be friends. Her love was passionate, like a moth flying into a flame. If she knew that I had feelings for her, she would completely distance herself from me. That wasn't what I wanted. So I didn't say it. I was conferred the title of Lord of the Northern Mountains. I stood at the peak of the mountain and watched her marry into the North Sea. Standing here, I could always see her. That way, perhaps I would be closer to her. I never thought that one day, she would climb the northern mountains covered in blood. When I saw her like that, I wanted to slap myself. Why did I choose the northern mountains? It was the most dangerous and highest mountain in the immortal world. I couldn't imagine how she managed to climb the northern mountains with her cultivation crippled and seriously injured. The North Sea Dragon clan was destroyed. She was only able to survive because her husband risked his life to protect the last of his bloodline. It was an extremely small baby. But when she handed it to me, I lifted the blood-stained bedding and saw a small, ashen face. She was already dead. Save her, Brother Shang. I held the ice-cold baby, not knowing how to react. Brother Shang, I beg you. She was my last hope. Please save her. I wanted to save her, but she told me that she had used the blood sacrifice technique and couldn't reincarnate. I couldn't save her, so she kept begging me to save her child. I watched her turn into ashes right in front of my eyes. At that moment, I seemed to understand what it meant to have a dead heart. But I can't die. I had to save the baby because it was her last request to me. I buried her clothes at the peak of the North Mountain. From there, she could look at the North Sea where her husband was buried. I went to the underworld and used half of my life to exchange for the baby's soul, but she was too weak and couldn't return to her original body. I had no choice but to collect all kinds of soul-nurturing techniques to slowly nurture her. During that time, I kept investigating the truth behind North Sea's destruction, but in the end, I still don't know why North Sea was destroyed, or who destroyed it. I did not wish her children to be vengeful. I had never mentioned it to her. I reconstructed her body and brought her to the cultivation world to join the Misty sect. When she entered the sect leader said that her fate was ominous and that she would not have a good ending. I knew it was because of me, because I changed her fate. Therefore, her ending was not good. I named her Shang Shu. I hoped that she would be a special existence. I taught her magic and the way of the human heart. But I didn't dare to spend too much time with her. I was afraid that I would see her mother's shadow in her. As she grew up year by year, she didn't look like her mother. I once suspected that something had gone wrong when I reconstructed her body. But this was also good. At least, I wouldn't find it so difficult to face her. One day, I discovered that she was different. Her fate was changing. Until she brought a man to me. I recognized him. He was a famous monster in the immortal world. He was actually her only hope. At that time, I couldn't tell if I was happy or worried. I didn't know much about Feng Ci. When he was born, I hadn't left the North Mountain for a long time. The rumors I heard later were all from when I was searching for soul-nurturing techniques. From his miserable growth to his famous battle that shook the immortal world, I heard about it. At that time, I thought that this Feng Ci really wasn't an ordinary person. Later on, I saw him once at the end of the North Sea. His unrestrained flames allowed me to quickly confirm his identity. He calmly glanced at me and made sure that I didn't have any intention to attack him. Then, he quietly stood there and raised his head slightly to look at the stone tablet that reached the clouds. That stone tablet was engraved with the teachings of the North Sea Dragon tribe. "What are you looking at?" I asked curiously. Feng Ci seemed surprised that I was talking to him. After a while, he pointed at the top of the stone tablet and said with an adorable expression, "There's something up there." I frowned and looked at the stone tablet, but I didn't see anything. He suddenly flew up, and his figure disappeared into the curling clouds. After a while, he landed, and a transparent crystal lay quietly in his palm. It was a memory crystal. At that time, my heart started to pound. Only the dragon tribe could put things in this stone tablet. Feng Ci was a mixed blood of a dragon and a phoenix. I asked him for the memory crystal. He calmly placed it to the side and turned to leave. From the memory crystal, I learned who had destroyed the North Sea Dragon tribe. However, I still didn't know the reason. I wanted to take revenge for her, but at that time, Xiaoshu was at her most important moment. I couldn't be distracted and could only put this matter aside for now. I didn't expect to meet Feng Ci a second time, and under such circumstances. However, he was Xiaoshu's only hope. I had no choice but to beg him. I didn't expect him to agree so easily. At that time, I asked him why. He only replied with a few words. He said, "She can get close to me. I like her." Perhaps this was the will of the heavens. After that, Xiao Shu and I broke off our master-disciple relationship. Although I was worried, I knew that it was safest for her to be with Feng Ci. That was why I didn't stop them. Later, I heard that she had gone missing. Her soul tablet was still intact, so I knew that she was still alive. As for me, I didn't have much time left. I had to do one last thing: take revenge for her. My revenge didn't go very smoothly, but I still took revenge for her. I interrogated them for the reason. It was because their young master had taken a liking to her. Since they couldn't take her by force, they plotted to destroy the North Sea Dragon tribe. After I took revenge, I returned to the North Mountain and waited for death. Just like her, I wouldn't be reincarnated. When my body started to dissipate, I seemed to see her wearing a wedding dress and smiling like a flower. When you were alive, I couldn't be with you. Now, I can accompany you in your death. I don't regret it. Yu Xiao Chapter 2. I don't like to write extras, but if the character has a special story, I will write it. So, if you want to read extras, I'm sorry, babies. However, you can write it yourselves. Chapter 83. She has a fever. We can't take her with us. Our superiors said that people with fever will turn into zombies. If we take her with us, what if she turns into a zombie? But she's our daughter. Auntie, we don't have much time left. Let's go. Okay, let's go. Shi Shang heard some of the conversation in a daze. Her head felt heavy and uncomfortable. She wanted to open her eyes, but soon she fell into darkness again. After a long time, she heard the sound of something heavy being dragged near her ears. It was getting closer and closer. An unpleasant smell of blood and decay rushed into her nose. Meow. The sharp meowing of a cat woke Shi Shang up instantly. Her tightly shut eyes opened abruptly. A black shadow pounced on her at the same time. Its sharp claws pressed on her shoulder. With the help of the weak light, Shi Shang saw a greenish-gray face. Half of the face was rotten. One of its eyeballs fell out. It opened its bloody mouth and bared its fangs as it tried to bite her neck. Damn, it's a zombie. Is it really okay to be so cruel? I'll be traumatized. Shi Shang grabbed the pillow on the bed to block the zombie's mouth. She didn't have much strength. The zombie's mouth was already in front of her. Cold liquid dripped on her face. It smelled terrible. Damn it, this is simply testing my patience. Ho ho. Ho ho your ass. Shi Shang moved her feet and kicked the zombie's stomach. The zombie was kicked to the side. Cold liquid entered Shi Shang's mouth. It didn't have a strange smell, but it was very cold. It seemed to freeze her whole body. It happened so fast that Shi Shang didn't have time to react. The zombies crawled up from the ground and continued to reach for the food. Shi Shang didn't have time to think about what she had just eaten. She turned over and rolled to the ground. The zombie threw itself on the bed and crawled toward Shi Shang instinctively. Shi Shang shook her body and quickly got up. She glanced around and saw a small cabinet on the left. She rushed over, picked it up, and smashed it on the zombie's head. Every time Shi Shang smashed it, it would let out a ho-ho sound, as if it was cheering her on. This stupid zombie. Shi Shang threw away the cupboard and looked at the motionless zombie on the bed. He shook his sore hands. This body is so weak. After taking a few deep breaths, Shi Shang rubbed his growling stomach and walked out of the room to find something to eat. If I don't eat, I'm going to starve to death. The door was wide open, and there were bloodstains on the ground from the zombie's footsteps. From her direction, she saw a zombie walking towards them. Shi Shang hurriedly closed the door. The loud noise made the zombie scratch the door. Shi Shang rummaged through the cabinets and found only 2 bags of biscuits. After barely filling his stomach, he began to organize the plot and the memories of this body. This was a post-apocalyptic novel about a female supporting character. Qi Mingxue was the female supporting character in the novel. She died before the 50th chapter. However, Qi Mingxue was reincarnated by a reader who had read the novel. Therefore, the female supporting character became the female protagonist. The body she was in now was the original female protagonist, Gu Nan. Qi Mingxue took advantage of the fact that she had read the full text and grasped countless opportunities. Before the apocalypse began, she snatched the female lead's cheat, snatched her resources, and snatched a man. In short, she had a lot of fun snatching. Perhaps the author wanted to make the female protagonist look more powerful and wanted to give her all the good things. However, the female protagonist wanted everything she saw. In the end, her character was ruined. Without the golden finger, the original owner lost the female protagonist's halo. On the way to B City, she was raped by a few people. Although she arrived at the safe zone, she didn't have a good life. After the safe zone of B City fell, she moved to the base in the capital. However, she lived a life of flesh and blood. She was tortured to death not long after. Qi Mingxue, on the other hand, lived a good life. In the end, she even built her own base and became an overlord. She led humans to defeat the zombies and reach the peak of life. Before the original owner died, she met Qi Mingxue and learned everything from Qi Mingxue. She couldn't accept it. How could she steal her things? She was just an outsider. How could she steal her things based on the information she knew? She wanted revenge. She wanted to live a better life than Qi Mingxue in the post-apocalyptic world. After reading the plot, Shi Shang was a little confused. She came a little late. It had been 3 days since the apocalypse began. Qi Mingxue stole everything that she wanted. The golden finger was a bead that was given to her by the original owner's grandmother. It was said that it was passed down from her ancestors. The golden finger was a symbol of the post-apocalyptic world. It had a space, a cute pet, and a magical spring. Qi Mingxue was the original owner's cousin. She was the child of the original owner's mother's younger sister. As the biological daughter, the original owner was not as favored as an outsider living in the Gu family. In the Gu family, Gu Nan was like an outsider. Not to mention spoiling her, Gu Nan's mother looked at her as if she was an enemy. Gu Nan's father was also a henpecked husband. Every time, he would just shake his head and sigh as if he was sorry for Gu Nan. Therefore, when the apocalypse began, Qi Mingxue took away Gu Nan's parents who treated her well. Gu Nan, who was awakening her superpower, was left alone. When she left, she purposely didn't close the door. As long as zombies smelled the scent of a living person, they would definitely sneak in. Indeed, zombies did sneak in. Thinking of the muffled sound she heard before, it must have been when they abandoned the original owner. Meow, Shi Shang felt a furry touch on her leg. Looking down, she saw a white cat squatting by her feet. Its gem-like eyes were glowing in the dark night. As if it sensed Shi Shang's gaze, the white cat meowed again and rubbed its head against her leg. White tiger. Shi Shang found the cat's name from her memory and called out awkwardly. She named a cat White Tiger. As expected of the original owner. Even her pet was so special. Meow. White Tiger rubbed its head against her leg happily. Shi Shang picked it up and stroked its fur. It was very smooth. It was the cat's meow that woke her up. Otherwise, she didn't know if she would have woken up when the zombies bit her. Shi Shang didn't hate cats. Therefore, she decided to keep this cat. It had been 3 days since the apocalypse began. The golden finger had been taken away by Qi Mingxue. Shi Shang was very upset. Well, the golden finger was gone, but she still had her superpower. When she woke up, she felt a strange power in her body. Now that she calmed down and felt it, it became more and more obvious. She tried to use that power. Her fingertips felt cold. A small black flower bloomed on her fingertips. What the hell was this? *3rd update. Let me touch you guys. Please vote. I can vote for you guys now. Don't save the recommendation tickets. Come on, all of you. Love you guys. P.S. Today's recommendation tickets are 1,000 plus chapters. Monthly votes are 50 plus chapters. Chapter 84. What kind of power was blooming? And why was it black? Was this some kind of game? In the original storyline, The main character had a fire power and was very lethal. However, she didn't have a crystal to upgrade her power, so her power was only at level 2. But how did it become a power that no one had ever seen before? Shi Shang tried a few times. Every time, if it wasn't one black flower, it would be 2 black flowers. What a scam, isn't it? How did the fire power become like this? Even if it was a mutation, it shouldn't be like this. Shi Shang pondered for a long time. Finally, he remembered that when she was fighting with the zombie in the house, she seemed to have eaten something. Could it be that thing that caused her to become like this? Oh my God, what kind of sin did I commit? System, please give me a golden finger. I want something cool and special. Ah! A woman's scream resounded through the street. A few young men and women rushed out from the corner of the street. Behind them were 7 or 8 zombies, chasing after the food excitedly. At this moment, on the road in front of them, a few zombies walked over shakily. When they heard the sound, they immediately looked at the running people and excitedly surrounded them. Brother Yu, what should we do? The one who asked was a fat man with an axe in his hand. There was a wolf in front and a tiger behind. Were they going to die here today? There's someone up there. One of the girls suddenly pointed to the second floor of the street. Brother Yu, there's someone up there. The guy called Brother Yu looked up. This was an old city area. There was a large balcony on the second floor of an old-fashioned building, and it was open air. At this moment, there was a person standing on the balcony. It was a young girl, about 16 or 17 years old. She was wearing clean sportswear and holding a white cat in her arms. Yu Liang felt a little strange, but at this moment of life and death, he didn't have time to think about it. He looked down at the second floor and saw a sturdy iron door. The nearby doors were either closed or broken. Yu Liang had no choice but to shout towards the second floor, "Miss, can you open the door for us?" The zombies on both sides were getting closer and closer. "Open the door, let us in." The girl who had shouted earlier also spoke, but her tone was not very pleasant. "Miss, we're all the same. If we can help, we'll help. We have food on us, and we can share it with you. Miss, please help us open the door. The zombies are coming. Are you deaf? Say something." But no matter what they said, the girl standing on the balcony did not move at all. If it wasn't for the cat in her arms constantly wagging its tail, they would have suspected that the girl was just a statue and not a person at all. The zombies had already arrived. Ah! The 3 girls were frightened by the terrifying zombies and screamed. The 2 men had to kill the zombies and protect them, so their movements were greatly restricted. Shi Shang lowered his eyes and looked at the people below. He only went to open the door when they were about to collapse. As soon as the door opened, the 3 girls quickly squeezed in, with Yu Liang and Fatty bringing up the rear. When the iron door was closed, the zombies surrounded the iron door and scratched it. The sound was really ear-piercing. Shi Shang only glanced at them indifferently, then turned around and went upstairs without saying a word. The 3 girls were scared out of their wits. Yu Liang and Fatty looked at each other and helped the 3 girls upstairs. As soon as they went upstairs, they saw the zombie in the living room. Half of its head was cut off, and black and red liquid was all over the floor. The living room smelled very bad. Blurg. The 3 girls saw this scene and immediately retched. Their faces were extremely pale. "Hello, I'm Yu Liang." "Thank you." Yu Liang took the initiative to go forward. Shi Shang's hand stroked the white tiger's back. His eyelids were slightly lowered, and his face was calm. Yu Liang was a little scared. This girl was too calm. She was as calm as a pool of stagnant water, without any ripples. 3 days felt longer than a century to him. In the beginning, he couldn't do it, but now, in order to survive, he took the initiative to kill zombies. But when he saw those zombies, he couldn't help but feel scared and disgusted. "Brother, why are you thanking her? She took so long to open the door for us. Maybe she wanted to see us die." A girl in a blue dress walked to Yu Liang's side with a pale face. She stared at Shi Shang with a face full of disgust. Shi Shang raised his head and looked at her. Suddenly, he grinned with a bit of malice. Her face was beautiful to begin with, and with such a smile, it made her face even more vivid, like a blooming flower in early spring. However, there was not the slightest hint of a smile in her eyes, which were as clear as lake water. They were still as calm as ever. Yu Liang heard the girl's soft voice full of malice. "You were able to keep your life. Wasn't it because I opened the door for you? Now that you think about it, I'm your savior. Is this how you talk to your savior? Believe it or not, I will throw you out to feed the zombies." "Savior? What kind of savior are you? If you opened the door for us earlier, we wouldn't have to stay with those damn things for so long." "Brother, look at her. What kind of attitude is she?" Yu Jing was so angry that her face turned red. This woman dared to threaten her. "Why should I open the door for you?" Shi Shang ignored Yu Jing's anger and asked doubtfully, "What obligation do I have to open the door for you? Didn't your teacher teach you not to open the door for strangers?" "Idiot, if I didn't pity you, I wouldn't open the door for you. I don't know if it's too late to throw them out now." "What era is it now?" "I'm sorry, girl. My sister is not sensible." Yu Liang quickly pulled Yu Jing away. "Brother, what are you doing?" Yu Jing, that's enough." Yu Liang suddenly raised his voice. "Since the apocalypse, haven't you caused enough trouble for me?" Yu Jing bit her lips. Her eyes were red. She stomped her feet and ran toward the other two girls. "I'm sorry. My sister has been spoiled since she was young. Don't be angry. You saved our lives today. We don't have anything else. How about we give you some food? Of course, if you..." "No need." Shi Shang carried the white cat to the balcony and said mercilessly, "Just don't let your sister go crazy in front of me." Yu Liang awkwardly looked at Shi Shang's back. Fatty stepped forward and patted him on the shoulder. The two brothers smiled bitterly at the same time. This damn apocalypse. At night, Shi Shang still stayed on the balcony. She only put a recliner on the balcony and slept on it with the white cat. Yu Liang and the others didn't disturb her. Yu Jing loudly scolded a few times but was quickly stopped by Yu Liang. Yu Liang and Fatty each took the night shift. After Fatty and Yu Liang changed shifts, Yu Liang glanced at the balcony and found that the person on the recliner was gone. He immediately ran to the balcony. The recliner was still warm, which meant that she had just left. Yu Liang looked at the street and saw a black shadow disappearing at the corner of the street. Yu Liang couldn't tell what he was feeling. He always felt that the girl was strange. Shi Shang didn't go far. She left the neighborhood and came to this area. She accidentally found that her strange ability seemed to be useful against zombies. So now, she came to verify it. Chapter 4 asking for votes P.S. Today's recommendation votes are 1,000 plus chapters. Monthly votes are 50 plus chapters. Chapter 85. She chose an alley where there were two zombies. She put the white tiger into her backpack, stood in the alley, and used her superpower. Shi Shang liked to use her ability to create flowers whenever she had nothing to do. Right now, she could create 3 flowers at once. When the black flowers bloomed on her fingertips, the two zombies seemed to have smelled something as they turned to look at Shi Shang. However, they were not as excited as they were when they saw human beings. At this time, they were a little depressed and confused. Shi Shang tried taking a few steps forward. The two zombies didn't move at all. They just stood there in their original positions. They didn't move until Shi Shang was 2 meters away from them. F***CK, this ability is awesome. Roar roar. The zombie suddenly moved, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws at Shi Shang. Shi Shang was shocked and turned around to run away. Damn, I used up my superpower. Yu Liang thought that the girl wouldn't come back. Who knew that not long after, he saw the girl running from the corner of the street like a gust of wind. She stepped on the car downstairs and quickly climbed up to the balcony. What are you doing here? Shi Shang frowned when he saw Yu Liang. I'm on night watch. The balcony is mine. Don't come near here. What was the most terrible thing after the apocalypse? It was the human heart. She was not in the mood to deal with these people. Killing people was not illegal after the apocalypse. If these people got too close to her, she might have to report them. After Yu Liang left, Shi Shang lay down on the rocking chair with the cat in his arms and slowly recovered his superpower. This superpower could make zombies depressed and even ignore her. In the apocalypse, this superpower was necessary for killing people and robbing. Think about it, if you could walk freely among hundreds of thousands of zombies, how cool would that be? It was quite exciting to think about it. However, the distance and range could only be known after the experiment. Shi Sheng sighed. As the original female lead who had her golden finger stolen, it would be difficult for her to make a comeback. The next day, Yu Liang's people were discussing where to go. Shi Sheng was still lying on the chair on the balcony. His lazy appearance made Yu Jing angry. "We want to collect some supplies and then go out of the city. Are you coming?" Yu Liang walked out of the house and asked her politely. "I'm not going. You don't know what's good for you." Yu Jing's sarcastic voice came from behind. Shi Shang tilted his head and said calmly, "I want to live for a few more days. I don't want to feed the zombies so soon." She only knew how to attract zombies with her screams. What was she doing with them? To become food for the zombies? What do you mean? Yu Jing shouted again, "We let you follow us because we pity you. Do you think we want you to follow us? They're coming if you keep shouting." Shi Shang gloated and pointed down. "Do you really want to be one with the zombies? If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have saved you." Yu Jing's hand trembled as she pointed at the Shi Sheng. Her face turned pale. Fatty and the other two girls were lured over as well. Hearing the increasingly louder grunts, the two girls' faces paled. "Brother Yu, let's go. We won't be able to leave if we get surrounded," Fatty reminded Yu Liang. Yu Liang shook his head helplessly and pulled Yu Jing away. Shi Shang watched them disappear into the street corner from the balcony. "Meow," White Tiger rubbed against Shi Shang's arm. Shi Shang rubbed its head and said to himself, "We need to find someone with space and water abilities. Otherwise, we'll have a hard time in the future." As a person who was used to living a luxurious life, Shi Shang's first thought was to make himself more comfortable no matter where he went. He couldn't mistreat anyone but himself. On the 6th day of the apocalypse, some people started to use their powers. However, because they were too weak in the early stages, they didn't use their powers as often as those with mutated bodies. Shi Shang stood at the corner of the alley and watched the people killing zombies. She had seen metal, wood, water, fire, and earth abilities, but this was the first time she saw a lightning ability user. Although the lightning he released was only as thick as a pinky finger, it was much stronger than the others who could only release sparks. There were more than 10 people over there. The lightning ability user was the leader, and they were protecting the 3 SUVs behind them. Shi Shang's attention was on the young girl beside the man. Her long hair was coiled up and she was constantly shooting out ice blades. Compared to the others, her ability was clearly stronger. She didn't show any signs of exhaustion even after using it for so long. Qi Ming Xue. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road. Then the lightning ability user should be her shipmate, Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng smiled evilly. Should I break up the shipmate? More and more zombies were attracted. Even a few came to the alley where Shi Shang was standing. Shi Shang swung the iron sword in her hand, waited for the zombies to come closer, then swung the sword down. It was clearly a light slash, but the zombie's head was directly cut off, and its body fell to the ground with a loud bang. The system didn't know where Shi Shang got his iron sword. It had asked, but its host was very stubborn and told it to investigate. If it could find it, why would it need to ask? The iron sword had a wave of energy, but it was too weak. It couldn't analyze what the energy was. The host always has strange things on her body. By the time Shi Shang finished off these few zombies, the people on the other side had also managed to create an opening and began to retreat. An off-road vehicle led the way and knocked aside the zombies that had managed to create a small opening. Everyone got on the vehicle immediately. Only Shi Shang and Qi Mingxue stayed behind to cover the rear. When the car reached Shi Shang's place, it suddenly stopped. "Get in." The car door was pushed open, and a baby-faced boy anxiously shouted at her. Shi Shang rolled her eyes and jumped into the car. She really wanted to see Qi Mingxue's expression when she saw her. It would definitely be fun. There weren't many people on the off-road vehicle. Including the driver, there were only 3 people. Other than the driver, the other 2 had bloodstains on them. As soon as Shi Shang got on the car, the 3 people looked at Shi Shang. Her clothes were very clean. Her backpack was a little bulging, but it wasn't big. It was similar to a student's backpack. It was already the 6th day of the apocalypse, but this girl was still dressed so cleanly. It seemed that she hadn't left the house since the apocalypse. The water was still running, so it wasn't strange for her to be clean, so they didn't think too much about it. "Third brother, there are zombies in front." The baby-faced boy suddenly pointed to the front and shouted. There were a lot of zombies in front of them. There were about 200 to 300 of them. "We can't get past them," the man sitting in the front passenger seat said with a calm face. The 2 people looked around and finally stopped at a supermarket. The supermarket was very messy. It seemed that someone had already visited it, but the door was still open. They quickly stopped the car. "Get out of the car. Go into the supermarket and cover the people behind." Shi Shang was pulled out of the car by the baby-faced boy. They rushed into the supermarket. People of all ages got out of the car one after another. Shi Shang saw Father Gu and Mother Gu. Qi Mingxue was here, so she wasn't surprised to see them. The people outside all came in and blocked the door. Hearing the zombies outside knocking on the door, the group of people's hearts jumped. After making sure that the zombies couldn't get in, they found a place to rest. Some people began to search the supermarket for supplies. As soon as the crowd dispersed, Shi Shang's figure appeared. "Xiao Nan." Father Gu saw Shi Shang first. He was surprised at first, then embarrassed and guilty. Chapter 86. Mrs. Gu was standing next to Mr. Gu. Hearing Mr. Gu's voice, she looked over. Seeing that it was really her daughter, she felt a little uncomfortable. "Hey, you know Uncle Gu and Auntie Gu?" The baby-faced boy looked at Shi Shang in surprise. How did he save an acquaintance? Shi Shang sneered. "Of course I know them. They are my parents." Parents? If they were her parents, why did they speak in such a harsh and sarcastic tone? "Xiao Nan, at that time you—" Mrs. Gu interrupted Mr. Gu. She looked worried and angry. "You stupid girl, running around all day. Do you know how worried we were when we couldn't find you after the apocalypse?" Mrs. Gu choked with sobs and tears. "Since you're back, stay with us. Mom and Dad will protect you." "I can't afford it. I don't have parents who would leave their own daughter behind and run away with someone else's daughter." "You want me to act with you? Dream on." Mrs. Gu thought that Shi Shang had to listen to them if he wanted to survive the apocalypse. In the original plot, the original owner also met them on the way to Bee City. Mrs. Gu also said that she was immature and ran around all day. They were so sad when they couldn't find her. At that time, the original owner had to endure it to get rid of those beasts who defiled her. She was looked at strangely by the people around her. Unfortunately, she was not Gu Nan. What happened? The baby-faced boy was confused. People around them also looked over. Shi Shang spoke before Mrs. Gu. "When the apocalypse started, I had a fever. My parents left me and ran away with my cousin." "What? They left their daughter behind? How could they do that? It was only the 6th day of the apocalypse. Except for some who were full of evil, most people still retained their humanity and conscience." "You unfilial daughter. How could I have given birth to such an ungrateful person? We couldn't control you when you fooled around with outsiders. Now you're talking about me like this. What have I done?" Mrs. Gu began to cry. She sounded like she was right. For a moment, no one knew who to believe. All right. It's not easy to be alive now. You're all family. What's there to hate? The most important thing now is to stay alive. Everyone, disperse. Take the time to rest. The man who had been driving earlier asked the crowd to disperse. He glanced at Shi Shang and said, "We'll talk about your matter when Boss and Miss Qi come back. Have a rest first." Shi Shang smiled. "There's nothing to say. I won't acknowledge them. Nan, don't be angry. You've seen what's going on out there. You'll be safe with us." Mr. Gu had a weak personality and had always been suppressed by Mrs. Gu, so he spoke slowly. "Then just pretend that I'm dead. I'm not going to serve such parents. You only have eyes for Qi Mingxue. Go and be her parents. I'm not worthy of her. Anyway, the original owner's last wishes had nothing to do with them." Thinking about it, the original owner also hated them, but because they were her parents, the people who gave birth to her and raised her, even if they treated her like this, she didn't want to take revenge in the end. Okay. Your father and I raised you for nothing. We have nothing to do with you from now on. Old Gu, let's go." "Hey, Nan. Let's go." "Why are you still talking to her? She already said that she won't acknowledge you." Mrs. Gu dragged Mr. Gu to the side and yelled, "Even a dog knows how to wag its tail. We raised her for so many years, but look at what we've gotten from her." Baby-faced and the man who had been driving looked awkward. This was other people's family matter, so it wasn't appropriate for them to butt in. Shi Shang's expression turned colder as he watched Mr. Gu, Mrs. Gu and the people surrounding them slander her. Didn't the original owner suspect that she wasn't their daughter at all? How could they treat their own daughter like this? Side task. Identity unlock. Accepted by default. The system's voice suddenly popped out, giving Shi Shang a fright. Identity unlock? What the hell? Was the original owner really not Mr. and Mrs. Gu's daughter? Oh my god, this was just a random thought. System, don't give me missions so casually. And you didn't even give me a chance to reject it. Do you know that you'll lose me easily like this? Didn't you not force me last time? System, you've changed. Host, the reward for this side task is very generous. The system reminded her thoughtfully. How generous was it? Could it make up for her bad moral standing? Host, please don't indulge in fantasy. You're the one who's indulging in fantasy. Don't think I don't know that it's just a bunch of numbers. She chose to go offline. If Gu Nan wasn't Mr. and Mrs. Gu's daughter, then whose daughter was she? Did Mr. Gu have an affair? Was that why Mrs. Gu had such a strong opinion of her? The more Shi Shang thought about it, the more likely it seemed. He had to find an opportunity to ask Mr. Gu. Song Shi and Qi Mingxue returned the next day. As soon as they arrived, Mr. and Mrs. Gu surrounded her with concern, as if she was their daughter. Shi Shang leaned against the shelves and watched the joyous scene. His expression was indifferent and his gaze was calm. There wasn't a hint of anger or jealousy. Baby-faced Su Jie observed her for a long time and felt that there was something wrong with this girl. From the moment they let her into the car to the argument with Mr. and Mrs. Gu, although she had an expression on her face, her eyes were calm from beginning to end. Little Five, why are you looking at her? Have you taken a fancy to her? It's not good to start thinking about love at such a young age. The dark-skinned man patted Su Jie's head playfully and said sternly, "That girl has an aura. Even Miss Qi can't compare to her." The driver, Zhao Jing, glanced in Shi Shang's direction. "I also feel that she's not an ordinary person. I've observed her before. The way she looked at those zombies was the same as how she looked at them now." He didn't know if it was his imagination, but he felt that the way she looked at humans was much colder than the way she looked at zombies. "I was on night watch last night. She stared at me for as long as I did. This morning, she didn't look like she didn't rest well at all." Hey, are you sure you're talking about a girl who's not even 20 years old and not our boss?" Su Jie's face was full of black lines. Were they really talking about a girl? The few of them shook their heads as if they were looking at an idiot. Zhao Jing lowered his voice and said, pay more attention to her. Qi Mingxue had also finished speaking. Qi Mingxue glanced in Shi Shang's direction, then walked over to Shi Shang with a bottle of 8 treasure porridge. She said gently, "Cousin, eat something." Shi Shang raised his head slightly and looked up at the woman standing in front of him. She was completely different from the Qi Mingxue in his memory. At this moment, Qi Mingxue was radiant and dazzling. Her face was fair and tender like a freshly peeled egg, and her eyes were like clear springs that shimmered with the light of water. Every frown and smile of hers carried a seductive charm. Shi Shang tugged at the corner of his mouth and smiled. "Sorry, I lost my memory. I don't know you." Qi Mingxue's smile froze, but she quickly recovered. "Cousin, don't be angry. Aunt is just confused from anger. Just apologize properly later." Chapter 6. Chapter 87. Qi Mingxue appeared gentle on the surface, but deep down, she thought to herself, as expected of the female lead. She didn't close the door properly when she left. She didn't think that she would be so lucky to run here. However, she had already snatched her biggest cheat. She wanted to see if the female lead without a cheat was still as awesome as she was in the book. "Mingxue, what are you talking to her about? She's an ingrate." Mother Gu grabbed Qi Mingxue and left. "Aunt, cousin is alone. Why do you care about her? Don't you know what she said yesterday? I won't have a daughter like her in the future." "Aunt, no matter what, we're still family. Cousin is just young and insensible. Please don't be so calculative with her." Their voices gradually faded into the distance. Shi Shang lowered his head and played with the iron sword in his hand. Suddenly, there was a shadow in front of her. She raised her head slightly and met a pair of cold eyes. As the male lead, Song Shi was very handsome. However, after seeing men like Chu Tang and Lu Qingyun who were so beautiful that they angered both men and gods, she felt that Song Shi was at most slightly better looking than the average person. "You're not welcome in my team. Leave now." Song Shi's voice was just like his personality, cold and without a trace of emotion. Oh my God! What did Qi Mingxue say to Song Shi? Why is he chasing me away? "Boss, she's just a young lady." Before Su Jie could finish speaking, Song Shi swept a cold glance over him. Su Jie didn't dare to continue. Shi Shang tugged the corners of his mouth into a smile. He picked up the bag containing White Tiger from the ground and softly called out his name, "Song Shi Se Song." Song Shi frowned slightly. This girl was indeed very strange. Letting her leave the team was the right choice. When Shi Shang passed by Father Gu and Mother Gu, he paused. "Mr. Gu, may I have a few words with you?" Father Gu looked at Mother Gu, asking her silently. Mother Gu turned her head away in disgust. Father Gu then walked out of the supermarket with Shi Shang. "Mr. Gu, can you tell me who my biological parents are?" Shi Shang asked directly. Hearing this, Father Gu's face changed. "Xiaonan Yu. Where did you find out?" The original owner's mother, Chang Su, was Father Gu's first love. Father Gu didn't know who her father was. At that time, it was Chang Su who brought her to his house when she was just born and begged him and Mother Gu to adopt her. Mrs. Gu wasn't happy at the time, but Chang Su took a large sum of money, so Mrs. Gu agreed. For more than 10 years, Chang Su seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. She was never seen again. Chang Su was from the capital. Could it be that she had to run to the capital? To get to Beijing, they had to pass through B City, and there were no flights now. Shi Shang had no choice but to put this matter aside for now. Since it was a side mission, it must not be easy to complete. Shi Shang left the supermarket and found an RV nearby. There was still a zombie inside. Shi Shang got the zombie out of the RV before following behind Qi Mingxue's group. Qi Mingxue and Song Shi both knew about this, but they couldn't stop her from following, could they? After leaving a city, Song Shi's team lost 5 people. The others also died. Originally, there were more than 30 people, but now, there were only 10 people left. 4 cars were reduced to 2 cars. When they left the city, they met Yu Liang and Fatty. Both of them had awakened their abilities. Unfortunately, Yu Jing and the 2 girls were dead. Song Shi let the 2 of them join the team. When they saw Shi Shang at the back, they were surprised that this girl was still alive. 13th day of the apocalypse. The team left a city and headed to B City. 20th day of the apocalypse. The team met the army that was trying to rescue the survivors. 25th day of the apocalypse. The team was trapped in a village because of the heavy rain. Shi Shang stood in front of the window and looked at the heavy rain outside. His gaze was a bit obscure. After this heavy rain, the zombies would evolve. They would no longer be slow, but their speed would be the same as ordinary people. Many zombies would also become zombies with abilities. Nuclei would also start to appear in the zombies' brains. Small black flowers slowly bloomed on Shi Shang's fingertips. It was time for her to kill zombies. With nuclei, her ability should be able to level up a lot faster. Her current ability could make zombies ignore her. Driving away zombies would only work on 1 or 2 zombies. It wouldn't work on more than that. Ah! She turned into a zombie. Screams suddenly sounded from the house next to Shi Shang's, followed by chaos. This kind of situation had happened dozens of times on the road. Many people were bitten or scratched, but they didn't want to say anything. Host, the rain is helpful to your ability. Why did the system warn her? There must be a conspiracy. It was really just a simple reminder. Does the host have a persecutory delusion disorder? Although Shi Shang felt that the system was plotting something, she still packed her things. She put White Tiger into her backpack and pushed open the door. While everyone's attention was on her, she quickly ran to the other side of the village. She didn't notice that after she left, Qi Mingxue also followed her. Shi Shang walked to a place where there was no one around and slowed down, allowing the rain to fall on her body. The rainwater brought with it wisps of black aura. When it landed on her body, the black aura immediately disappeared into her body. When the black gas entered her body, she could feel that her ability became active and was constantly swimming in her body. Roar! A zombie rushed out of the house next to her and pounced on Shi Shang. Shi Shang leaned to the side and stabbed her iron sword into the zombie's brain. In the darkness, more and more zombies appeared. Shi Shang found that she couldn't use her ability. Her ability was very active in her body, but she couldn't use it at all. Damn, the system is such a fraud. Shi Shang could only slash with her iron sword. Wave after wave of zombies, as if all the zombies in the village were gathered here. Bang! The explosion was very sudden. Shi Shang only felt that the light in front of her suddenly became dazzling. In the blink of an eye, she was sent flying. Her ears were full of buzzing sounds. The rain fell on her body and it was as painful as corrosion. Damn it! Which idiot plotted against I? When Shi Shang landed, she caught sight of a figure standing on a rooftop in the distance from her peripheral vision. Then, everything in front of her turned black as she was plunged into complete darkness. Shi Shang was awoken by the cold. The moment she opened her eyes, she was met with a frighteningly pale face. A pair of pitch-black pupils were staring intently at her. There was a bit of stiffness and confusion in those pupils. Damn, a zombie? No, except for the pale face that looked like it was smeared with powder, the other parts of this guy were exactly the same as a human. Even the clothes he was wearing were normal. The surrounding light outlined the figure in front of her. It was a 17 or 18-year-old boy. His face was very delicate, like a doll in a display window. He didn't show any desire to attack, so Shi Shang could only stay still. You! What the hell is this? Ho ho! Shi Shang, damn, it's really a zombie. The zombie was lying on top of Shi Shang. At this time, when he saw that she was awake, he clumsily got up from her body and reached out to her with a stiff face. Ho ho! Shi Shang thought for a while and tried to put her hand in his. The zombie immediately held her hand and pulled her up. His hand was very cold, as if it had been frozen in a freezer, but it wasn't stiff. It was just like a normal human's hand. The zombie pulled her hand to his mouth. Sher Shang was startled, but the zombie tightened his grip and forced her hand to his mouth. Chapter 7. Chapter 88. F*CK, F*CK, F*CK. This guy wants to eat me. Where's I's sword? I want to hack it to death. Just as Sher Shang was looking for her sword, something cold and soft brushed her fingertips. She shivered and looked at the zombie with a strange expression. He was licking her fingertips and frowning slightly. It seemed that he didn't like her fingertips. Ho ho. She didn't understand. Speak human language. Ho ho. The zombie pulled her hand in front of her and roared anxiously. Sher Shang looked at her hand. Well, it was clean and beautiful. It was great. Ho ho. The zombie stretched out his finger and poked her index finger. His stiff eyes flashed with expectation and desire. Sher Shang also poked him with her finger. What are you doing? Can you poke me to death? Because he didn't know how to express himself, the zombie anxiously walked around Sher Shang twice and then ran away. Sher Shang. What kind of new game is this? I don't understand the world of zombies. Only then did Sher Shang observe the place she was in. It wasn't a big cave. She definitely couldn't have fallen into it because the ceiling was solid. So it was that zombie that brought her in? How come zombies are so smart? How scary! Her backpack and iron sword were placed in a corner not far away. She guessed that the zombie had picked them up. White Tiger was sleeping next to her. She called him several times, but he didn't wake up. Fortunately, he looked normal. She wondered if he was going to awaken his superpower. Animals could also awaken superpowers, but the probability was much lower than that of humans. The things in her backpack were still there. The food was soaked in water, so it was definitely inedible. Qi Ming Xue. How dare he plot against her? Sher Shang packed up her things and walked out of the cave. She was dumbfounded. Why the hell is this cave on top of a cliff? Fuck. Can that zombie fly? Sher Shang didn't know if zombies could fly, but she soon found out how the zombie came up. Damn it, this guy could teleport. He suddenly appeared beside her. If it weren't for her strong willpower, she would have been scared off the cliff. Ho ho. The zombie handed the white flower to Sher Shang, pointed at her finger, then pointed at the flower. Sher Shang. I don't understand at all. She reached out to take the little flower and asked tentatively, For me? The zombie immediately shook his head. Hee hee. If you don't give it to I, why are you giving it to I? Do you want me to see why the flowers are so white? Believe it or not, I will let you know why the flowers are so red. Flower? This guy couldn't be talking about her special ability, right? Sher Shang hesitated for a moment before using her superpower to condense a black flower at her fingertips. As soon as the flower appeared, Sher Shang was shocked. Before she could see it clearly, the flower disappeared. Ho ho! The zombie grabbed Sher Shang's hand excitedly. Sher Shang. Did she see wrongly just now? This zombie actually absorbed her superpower? Damn, is this zombie going to ascend to heaven? Sher Shang condensed another flower. The zombie opened his mouth and swallowed it. The cold tip of his tongue even licked her fingertips. Sher Shang was so shocked that goosebumps appeared all over her body. Ho ho! The zombie tilted his head and looked at her hand, then at her. Ho ho! Sher Shang found that the zombie's face was not as pale as before after eating her superpower. Of course, there was still a certain distance between him and a human, and his pupils were not as stiff as before. Her superpower had a nourishing effect on zombies? That shouldn't be the case. If that was the case, those zombies would have torn her apart when they sensed her superpower. Sher Shang thought about the flower that she had seen before. She turned back to the cave and condensed a flower on her fingertips. Seeing this, the zombie wanted to pounce on her and bite her, but Sher Shang immediately moved her hand away. Ho ho! The zombie was a little angry and his voice became a little sharper. Shi Shang was afraid that the zombie would pounce on her and bite her, so she pointed her iron sword at him and quickly sized up the flower. The flower was twice as big as the one she had condensed before, and its color was darker than before. Was this an advancement? Ho ho! The zombie looked at Shi Shang's fingertips helplessly. He looked quite pitiful. Shi Shang's face darkened. She actually felt that a zombie was pitiful. She must be crazy. Ho ho, Shi Shang. So in this world, she had to be affectionate with zombies? Shi Shang condensed a few more flowers and fed them to the zombie. She couldn't help it. She couldn't fly. She was on a cliff, so she had to lower her head. The zombie seemed to be insatiable. Shi Shang didn't dare to use her superpower after using half of it. Ho ho, you bastard. Take I down, or you can't eat anymore. The zombie seemed to understand her. He stared at her fingertips in disappointment, then pointed outside. This zombie wanted to eat her superpower, so she wasn't worried that he would bite her. Moreover, this guy seemed to have a high IQ compared to other zombies. The zombie's teleportation seemed to be unstable. Shi Shang asked him to go up, but he took her to the bottom of the cliff. Of course, Shi Shang was more willing to believe that he didn't understand her at all. After all, he was a zombie. She could understand. Understand my ass. I don't want the Man vs. Wild series, okay? What's your name? Ho ho. Why are you different from other zombies? Ho ho. Do you know where this place is? Ho ho. I take back what I said about him having a high IQ. Other than ho ho, this guy doesn't know anything else. I don't have a zombie language system, okay? Shi Shang fed the zombie some superpower every day. She took the zombie to wander in the forest. There were no zombies here, not even animals. She didn't have enough food. By the time Shi Shang left that godforsaken place, the zombie had already returned to normal. It could even speak a few monosyllabic words. Eat. Shi Shang was speechless. This guy only knows how to eat. When I's superpower is awesome, I'll stuff you to death. Shi Shang walked out of the cliff and walked for a long time before he found a village. There weren't many zombies in the village. Shi Shang cleared out a room and found some food, but there wasn't much to eat. Shi Shang didn't know how much time had passed. Anyway, the water and electricity couldn't be used. It would take at least 1.5 months. Shi Shang also found some clothes. Since the heavy rain, the weather had been getting colder. She gritted her teeth and endured it. She put White Tiger on the sofa. The zombie's face was stiff. He stared at White Tiger and scratched the sofa with his fingertips. He was a little irritable. Shi Shang quickly fed him some superpower. Damn it. Although this zombie wouldn't attack her, he would attack White Tiger when he was irritable. Hidden mission. 1,000 miles together. You gave this mission so casually. What's with 1,000 miles together? You want me to save the world? Mission target, Chen Li. Help him recover his memory, avoid the ending of the plot, establish a new world order, and maintain world peace. Chen Li. Very good. Another villain boss. I have a conflict with the villain boss, right? Maintain world peace? Do you think I look like someone who can save the world? Asterisk Chapter 8. Chapter 89. Chen Li. The biggest villain in the novel, the only zombie emperor. His appearance was no different from a human's. If he didn't say that he was a zombie, no one would think that he was one. He led the zombies to attack the bases several times. Other than the female lead's base, all the other bases were destroyed. In the end, all the humans banded together under the lead of the female lead and successfully captured him alive. In order to study how the zombie emperor was different from other zombies, he was locked up in a laboratory for research. He didn't know how the research went, but the process was definitely not good. In the end, he self-destructed and the entire laboratory was destroyed. Shi Shang took a few glances at the zombies that were staring at her. This guy was the future zombie emperor? This Bao Bao was actually feeding a zombie emperor. She even wanted to lead him to establish a new world order and maintain world peace. What a rotten joke. This Bao Bao refused. Shi Shang's eyes turned and he made a decision. Change into this. You're not allowed to attack White Tiger or I'll beat you up. Shi Shang threw a clean set of clothes onto Qian Li. Hee hee. Qian Li looked at White Tiger and then looked at Shi Shang. Hee hee. When Shi Shang finished changing, Qian Li was taking off his shirt. The youth's body was still very young and there wasn't much to see. However, the crisscrossing scars on his back made Shi Shang's heart skip a beat. Those scars seemed to be from a long time ago, and they covered his entire back in a hideous manner. There was a strange tattoo on his shoulder blade. Just as he was about to take a closer look, Qian Li put on his shirt and reached out to take off his pants. Shi Shang, who hadn't shifted her gaze away, caught sight of it. Shi Shang. What an eyesore. He calmly looked away and waited for Qian Li to put on his clothes before Shi Shang walked over. You'll be on guard tonight. Call me if anyone comes. You're not allowed to attack anyone. She wasn't sure if this guy would be able to remain calm after tasting human blood. Qian Li looked at Shi Shang in confusion and nodded after a while. Shi Shang woke up in the middle of the night. In a dangerous world, she would not sleep too soundly. Qian Li was standing beside her, staring straight at her. Shi Shang lifted the blanket and sat up, snappily saying, "What are you standing there for? Are you trying to scare me to death?" Hee hee, hug. Qian Li opened his arms wide. Shi Shang. She silently stood up and reached out to hug Qian Li. His cold and hard nails brushed against her neck and Shi Shang almost raised his sword and slashed at him. However, Qian Li seemed to know that Shi Shang did not like him touching her with his nails, so he quickly moved his nails away, not allowing them to touch Shi Shang's body. He hugged her quietly for a while, then let go of her Shi Shang in satisfaction and sat down by the window. Shi Shang face-bombed. In the end, they exchanged 10 level 1 crystal cores for their people to stay on the first and second floors. After that rain, crystal cores would form in the zombies' heads. Crystal cores had just appeared, and many of the crystals in the zombies' heads were still in the formation stage. Therefore, there were not many level 1 crystals. Level 1 crystals were not many, so there were probably no level 2 crystals at all. Shi Shang met some zombies when he came out, but he did not find a single crystal core. It was enough to show that the probability of finding a crystal core was very low. 10 crystal cores were not a small number for the current situation. Shi Shang took the crystal cores to the 3rd floor. There was a door on the 3rd floor that could be closed, so she was not afraid that someone would come up. She learned from those people that it was already the 49th day after the apocalypse. Shi Shang absorbed one, but it did not work, so she stopped. Her superpower was strange, so it was normal that she could not absorb the crystal cores. When White Tiger woke up, it would be the perfect time for it to absorb the crystal cores. But she did not know when White Tiger would wake up. It had been sleeping for so long. The storyline did not mention that animals could awaken superpowers, so Shi Shang was not sure whether animals could awaken superpowers longer than humans. Asterisk, please vote. Even if it's on the shelf, you have to love me. Sub. What happened to not abandoning me? My recommendation votes dropped a lot yesterday. My heart hurts. You don't love me anymore. I didn't remind you when I saw someone say that it was on the shelf. To be honest, I won't take the blame. Almost as soon as I started writing, I told you that this book would cost money. Chapter 90. In the middle of the night, there was a commotion downstairs. There were even people banging on the door. It was very noisy. Shi Shang frowned and sat up. Qian Li was still huddled by the window. When he saw Shi Shang move, he immediately moved over and stared at Shi Shang's fingers. Damn it, he wants to eat again. Shi Shang accepted his fate and fed the future zombie king milk. He ruffled his hair in annoyance and walked towards the door with the iron sword. Qian Li followed him for 2 steps, but he seemed to have thought of something and slowly retreated back to the window. Shi Shang stood at the door and listened for a while. There was only noise and no screams. It shouldn't be someone turning into a zombie. He then opened the door. The person outside the door saw a figure standing in front of him in the dark. That person screamed and took a few steps back. Her scream attracted the attention of others. Someone used their superpower to create a fireball and threw it in Shishang's direction. That person probably just wanted to use it as a light source, so the fireball stopped a meter away from Shishang. It was just enough for the people downstairs to see her clearly. It's a person. I was scared to death. I thought it was a zombie. She already said that there was someone on the 3rd floor. You guys just had to smash her door. Now we're in trouble. We were just worried. Worried about what? Zhao Yan, don't think that no one knows what you're thinking. The crowd became noisy again. Shishang rubbed his forehead and said angrily, "What are you guys trying to do?" They didn't rest at night and still had the energy to make a fuss. He didn't know if they were bored out of their minds. Is there a seat upstairs? If there is, let us go up. The woman who threw the fireball immediately said arrogantly. The people here were divided into 3 groups. A few of them were led by this woman, another group was led by Zhao Yan's woman, and the rest were people who had nothing to do with the matter. Some were crying in despair, and some were complaining that they were too noisy, but did not dare to say anything. Zhao Yan was also considered an important supporting female character. She was the male lead's right-hand woman, the daughter of Zhao Jing's uncle. Before his uncle died, he had asked Zhao Jing to find Zhao Yan and protect her. Before the apocalypse, Zhao Jing had been adopted by his uncle. After so many years of upbringing, he naturally had to repay him. When he met Zhao Yan on the way to Bi City, he had to protect her well. But this Zhao Yan, who coveted Song Shi's beauty, naturally didn't like the female lead who could enter Song Shi's eyes. In the end, she was turned into a zombie and killed by Zhao Jing. In the end, Zhao Jing didn't end up well either. Since Zhao Yan was here alone, she probably hadn't met Zhao Jing and the rest. These thoughts were filtered out in just a few seconds. She leaned against the door frame and crossed her arms. Why should I let you go up? If it weren't for the crystal cores, she wouldn't have let these people in. These people still want to take a mile after taking an inch? Why should I? This is a public place. What are you trying to do by occupying it all by yourself? Do you see so many people down there? Zhao Yan was a little annoyed. Before the apocalypse, she was also the daughter of a wealthy family, and had everything that she needed. Even after the apocalypse, she was taken care of because of her ability. But now, she was squeezed together with so many people. Not only was the smell bad, but these people were also crying. If she had known, she wouldn't have quarreled with her cousin. The person who arranged for them said that there were people staying on the 3rd floor and that they couldn't go up. She had asked around and found out that there were at most 2 or 3 people upstairs, and one of them was a little girl. At first, she didn't want to go up. But in the latter half of the night, she couldn't take it anymore. She didn't want to go back and see that woman. When she didn't hear much noise upstairs, she went to smash the door upstairs. What does it have to do with me? In this world, people could kill for a piece of bread. Zhao Yan was angered by Shishang's attitude. I have to go up today. Let's go. As she spoke, she walked up the stairs. Shishang's eyes darkened. The iron sword in her hand suddenly slashed towards Zhao Yan. Zhao Yan didn't notice that Shishang had a sword in his hand. She didn't expect Shishang to slash at her. She was caught off guard. The iron sword slashed across her shoulder and cut off a strand of her hair. Shishang turned his wrist and pressed the iron sword against Zhao Yan's neck. The cold touch instantly penetrated into her bones. Zhao Yan's heart was filled with fear. Don't move, my sword is very sharp. I only need to use a little bit of strength and your neck and head will be separated. The originally noisy space suddenly quieted down. The girl's voice was very light, but it was full of malice. Deng deng deng. Footsteps could be heard coming from the stairs on the 2nd floor. A few shadows came up the stairs. Some of them had a flashlight with them. They first scanned the surroundings before the light from the flashlight landed on the stairs on the third floor where Shishang was. What's going on? The person who asked was the captain who made the deal with Shishang. His gaze first swept across Shishang and then landed on Zhao Yan. His expression was extremely ugly. Zhao Yan, what are you doing? Didn't I warn you not to go near the third floor? He knew that the girl wasn't an ordinary person. He had repeatedly warned her not to go up to the third floor. The girl spoke concisely and didn't look like someone who would cause trouble. Looking at the current situation, it was obvious that Zhao Yan was the one who started it. Captain Chong, can't you see that she's the one who's threatening me with a sword? Zhao Yan gritted her teeth. Her eyes were filled with anger, but she didn't dare to move. Xiao Nan. Shishang looked behind Chong Xian. Qi Mingxue was wearing a leather jacket and looked very cool. She walked out from behind Chong Xian with a worried expression. Why are you here? You left without saying goodbye last time. We were all very worried about you. Let go of Zhao Yan and we can talk about it. Bull *T. Worried that I'm not dead? This was the woman who had ambushed her last time. Now, she actually dared to pretend to greet her. Didn't she feel disgusted? Miss Qi, do you know this girl? Chong Xian's eyes lit up. This girl looked young, but she didn't seem like a girl at all. She's my cousin. Qi Mingxue said softly, I'm sorry, Captain Chong. My cousin has a bad temper. She didn't mean to cause trouble. I'll talk to her. Sorry for the trouble. F***CK. She dared to defame me in front of I and directly threw the blame to I. Female lead, you're quite shameless. Chong Xian frowned slightly. Qi Mingxue was saying that this girl started it? She did seem to have a bad temper. He could feel it when they were talking earlier. He looked at Shishang. Shishang was still holding the sword against Zhao Yan, but his expression seemed gentler than before. Was it his imagination? Qi Mingxue, get your cousin to let go of me. Zhao Yan shouted when she heard Qi Mingxue. Shishang was surprised. Zhao Yan knew Qi Mingxue? They should have met by now. Why was Zhao Yan still here? *Cherub, who had been following the novel, reported the number below. Chapter 91. Cousin, let go of Zhao Yan first, Qi Mingxue said gently. Qi Mingxue's public image had always been gentle and kind, so even when Zhao Yan shouted at her, she did not show any anger. Shishang rolled his eyes and looked at Qi Mingxue innocently. Cousin, didn't you say you wanted to teach her a lesson? Qi Mingxue's face changed. Cousin, what are you talking about? I didn't know you were here. Qi Mingxue. Zhao Yan's scream interrupted Qi Mingxue and her face turned green. What else do you have to say? I knew you were up to no good. How dare you put on an act in front of Brother Song, you shameless woman. Zhao Yan's voice became louder and louder, and Qi Mingxue's explanation was drowned out by her. Zhao Yan was here because she had a conflict with Zhao Jing because of Qi Mingxue. In a fit of anger, she brought a few girls who were close to her here. She already had a conflict with Qi Mingxue, so when she heard Shishang's nonsense, she could not think rationally anymore. Idiot! Shishang scolded, but Zhao Yan was too focused on scolding and did not hear him. Shishang put away his iron sword and returned to the door of the third floor. He raised his chin and said to Chong Xian, Captain Chong, you have to keep your word. If your people come near here, don't blame me for unsealing this sword. Chong Xian was speechless. Unsealing the sword? Was this girl crazy? Qi Mingxue watched as Shishang closed the door. Zhao Yan was no longer restrained and immediately pounced on Qi Mingxue. The scene immediately became chaotic. Some tried to stop the fight, while others tried to mediate. However, in the end, it developed into a war between women. Qi Mingxue's face and neck were scratched a few times by Zhao Yan's men. When they finally left, Qi Mingxue looked extremely pathetic. Back at the camp, Song Shi hadn't gone to bed yet. Seeing Qi Mingxue in such a sorry state, his expression changed. "What's wrong?" Song Shi went up to greet him. "He was fine when he went out just now. Why did he come back in such a sorry state?" Qi Mingxue's eyes reddened. "It's nothing. I just met my cousin." "She's still alive?" Song Shi was a bit surprised. She had suddenly disappeared that day. He had thought that she had died long ago. Who would have thought that she was still alive? When he thought of that woman, he felt a little uncomfortable. "Yes, I wanted her to be with us, but who knew that she would accuse me and drive a wedge between me and Zhao Yan?" Qi Mingxue's voice was very soft, filled with endless grievance. There was no need to exaggerate. What happened then was enough to make Song Shi hate Shi Sheng even more. Qi Mingxue saw the disgust in Song Shi's eyes and let out a sigh of relief. She had read the whole story and knew how attractive Gu Nan was as the female lead. Although Song Shi wasn't in the story, it was hard to say that he wouldn't be attracted by Gu Nan's female lead halo. Qi Mingxue thought that Shi Sheng was the female lead, but she was the real female lead now. Shi Sheng returned to the third floor. His eyes flashed as he felt that something was wrong. He looked towards the window and saw that the future zombie king who had been squatting there before was gone. Gone. Shi Sheng quickly scanned the entire third floor. He was indeed gone. F*ck. That B*tch actually ran away from home. F*ck. If she found him, she definitely wouldn't let him eat. What was there to find? It was dark outside. She had no idea where that B*tch had gone. It was impossible to go out and look for him. She didn't have any special means of communication with Qian Li. Who the hell knew where he had run off to? Shi Sheng hugged White Tiger and waited on the third floor until dawn. That B*tch still hadn't come back. Shi Sheng felt even more frustrated. She had lost her target this time. Looking for a person in the apocalypse was like looking for a needle in a haystack, let alone a zombie. The people outside had already started making preparations. It wouldn't be long before they set off. Shi Sheng stood by the window and watched. In the distance, she could see Qi Mingxue and Song Shi standing together. Zhao Yan was standing a bit further away and was currently talking to Zhao Jing. From time to time, she would glance in Qi Mingxue's direction. Song Shi's team had arrived in B City a long time ago. This time, they had received a mission to pick up these survivors. Plotsama was still as awesome as ever. He was rushing to send her to the female lead. Meow! The white tiger in her arms suddenly barked. Shi Sheng lowered her head, just in time to meet the white tiger's sparkling eyes. This B*tch had been in a coma for more than 20 days. What kind of ability did it awaken? What ability do you have? Shi Sheng squeezed White Tiger's paw. Meow! White Tiger stuck out its tongue and licked the back of her hand. Its sparkling cat eyes flashed with joy. However, no matter how Shi Sheng asked, White Tiger didn't show any abilities. Shi Sheng tossed and turned for a while. White Tiger meowed and ate a few crystal nuclei. There was no other change. It must have an ability to absorb crystal nuclei, but this B*tch seemed a little stupid. The dumb white tiger circled around Shi Sheng's feet, meowing ingratiatingly. The team downstairs was ready to set off. Chong Xian asked 2 soldiers to call for Shi Sheng. Shi Sheng naturally refused. The future zombie emperor had run away from home and hadn't returned. If she left, where would she go to find that B*tch? Based on how much he liked her ability, he would probably come back. Shi Sheng waited here for 3 days. On the 3rd night, as she was resting with her eyes closed, she felt someone's gaze on her. The moment she opened her eyes, she was met with a pair of lifeless eyes. The moment their gazes met, a bit of life appeared in those eyes. Before she could see clearly, she was hugged. Hee. The zombie emperor seemed to be very happy. He hugged Shi Sheng and spun her around, making hee sounds from his throat. Meow. White Tiger was awakened and meowed fiercely. It arched its body and was about to attack Qian Li. Roar! Qian Li quickly roared back. He even used teleportation to jump to the other side of the room. White Tiger immediately chased after him. It made hoo-hoo sounds from its throat and the fur on its back stood up. A rusty machete appeared out of thin air and shot towards Qian Li. Qian Li carried Shishang and dodged again. Following that, Shishang saw White Tiger continuously throw things at them. Those things appeared out of thin air and were strange. There were all kinds of things, even zombie corpses. White Tiger had been running outside often these days. Sometimes, she would forget about it because she was playing with her ability and didn't pay much attention to it. Who knew that this B*TCH had a spatial ability? Seeing that White Tiger was throwing more and more zombie corpses, Shishang immediately shouted for it to stop. How many zombie corpses did this B*TCH put in its spatial ability? What was even more strange was, why did it keep the zombie corpses? Was it keeping them for appreciation or as food reserves? No matter which it was, Shishang couldn't accept it. Damn it, he couldn't understand the thoughts of a mutated beast. Roar! This low growl came from the corner of the room. Shishang turned to look and saw that the zombies that had been lying on the ground had actually shakily stood up. Perhaps because Qian Li was here, the zombies had shrunk back into a corner in fear. A few of them had even curled up into a ball. Shishang, these zombies were quite cute. No, these zombies were F*King alive. Asterisk, please vote. Chapter 92. White Tiger Space could actually store living zombies. In this novel, only Qi Mingshue's space was able to store living things. Other people's space ability was unable to store living things. Zombies were also alive. Unless they were corpses, it was impossible to store them in her space. But now, White Tiger Space could actually store living things. Should she be happy or sad? This bastard actually used it to store zombies. Damn it, thinking about the place she used to store food in the future, she would store zombies. The heartache was unbearable. Qian Li chased the zombies away and stared at her finger. Shishang clenched her hand and put it behind her back. Running away from home and still wanting to eat. Eat my ass. Hee hee. I want. Qian Li went behind Shishang and reached out to grab her hand. He stuffed it into his mouth, his cold tongue swirling around her fingertips. Shishang pulled her hand back and ignored Qian Li's puppy-like pitiful expression. Where have you been these few days? Don't eat if you can't tell me. It was obvious that the future zombie king did not understand what Shishang meant and kept circling around Shishang. Shishang. Why should she talk to a future zombie king with no intelligence? It was simply dropping her IQ. Shishang only noticed the changes in Qian Li when the sun rose. His face was completely normal, but his eyes were still lifeless. When he was not looking at Shishang, his eyes were lifeless and eerie, looking very scary. Shishang realized that Qian Li and White Tiger could not coexist peacefully. It was the type where one did not like the other and the other did not like the other. Shishang found a broken car in the village and drove it unsteadily on the road. Qian Li could hear her speak and could say some simple words. It was obvious that his IQ was much higher than before. He must have gone to level up during the few days he disappeared. She did not know what level he was at now. She still had to go to B-City. B-City was the largest base in the area. Helicopters should have been gathered not long after the apocalypse began. She could only find a helicopter there and then go to the capital to find her mother. If she were to travel on land, she didn't know how long it would take her to reach the destination in her current condition. On the cracked rural road, more and more abandoned cars were piled up. Broken limbs were mixed with mud and blood on the ground, and the air was filled with a nauseating smell. Shishang couldn't drive any further after reaching this point. After putting everything into the White Tiger space, Shishang got out of the car with Qian Li and walked forward. There was a long queue in front of her. Shishang had to walk for a while before she could get past it, but, damn it, the front is full of zombies. There were also a few people who were killing zombies. They were blocked in one place. Other than killing, they could only be dismembered by the zombies. The people on the other side seemed to have noticed Shi Shang as their muffled voices could be heard. They had to shout a few times before Shi Shang could make out what they were shouting about. Run! She thought they would ask her to save them. Seeing that the Shi Shang didn't move, the person shouted a few more times. The sound attracted the zombies, but no zombies noticed that there was more food here. There were too many zombies over there. Unless Qian Li chased them away, those people would not be able to escape. Wait for me here. Shi Shang placed the white tiger in Qian Li's arms and turned to walk towards the people. Being surrounded by zombies, their powers were almost used up. What awaited them was death. When they saw people appear, they were happy. However, when they saw that it was a young girl and a young man, their hopes were dashed again. No one could save them. One person was caught by a zombie and dragged into the zombie crowd. He screamed twice and died. While they were shocked by this sudden change, another 2 people were caught and dragged into the zombie crowd. In just a few seconds, they lost 3 people. Bang! The purple circle of light exploded in front of them, and the airflow swept across. The zombies in front of them were overturned, and a large crater was formed at the place where the explosion occurred. The zombies standing at the edge of the crater fell into it, and there was a sizzling sound of thunder around the crater. This, lightning powers? Since when did the lightning ability become so powerful? How many powers did it take to create such a huge crater? Just when they were confused, they saw a small purple ball fall from the sky and land not far from them. With a bang, it exploded, and the zombies in front of them were directly blown away by the air current of the explosion. Get down! Their movements could be considered fast, but they still felt a very strong force shock through their bodies, causing their internal organs to become numb from the shock. Your reaction is quite fast. A light voice sounded from above their heads. One of the boys raised his head and saw the young girl from before. She was tossing a purple ball in her hand. There were flashes of lightning in the ball and it looked like a purple crystal ball. It was extremely beautiful. Was that the thing that exploded just now? Does it feel good to be in close contact with zombies? Do you want to be in love with zombies? Give birth to a baby? Give birth to a baby? What a joke. The 3 survivors helped each other up. What did you throw? There were so many zombies and they all died just like that? Heavenly lightning. The 3 of them were stunned. Heavenly lightning? What the hell was that? Did this young girl have a Chunibu disease? At this moment, the system was also completely dumbfounded. It had no idea how she had succeeded in the previous plane's heavenly tribulation. She actually stored all those lightning bolts? It couldn't analyze the substance of the ball that contained the lightning bolts. The host wanted to go to heaven. But it also proved that the host had an interspace, and it was a very high-level one that was bound to the host's soul. Host, how many did you store? Not much, just about 10,000. Shi Shang didn't hide it this time. That stupid system must have guessed that she had an interspace. If it still couldn't figure it out, she would really doubt its IQ. 10,000? Not much. Why don't you go and bomb the Milky Way? These lightning bolts are from another world. If you use them recklessly, you will be punished by the plane's rules. The system tried to calm down. These lightning bolts were used to pass the tribulation. Pass the tribulation. They contained the power of the heavenly Tao. A plane wouldn't allow other heavenly Tao powers to exist. It was like a lion that had divided its territory. If you suddenly ran into someone else's territory, would they let you go? It might be fine to use it once or twice, but if you used it too many times, you would be found out sooner or later. If it was serious, you would be obliterated. If it wasn't serious, you would be expelled from this plane. Oh, then I'll use it less, Shi Shang answered seriously. I'm not asking you to use it less. The 3 of them didn't know why the young girl was distracted. They looked at each other. Not only was this girl Chunibu, but she was also a little dumb. But this couldn't erase the fact that she was violent. Look at those holes. Asterisk pleading votes. Chapter 93. The three people Shi Shang saved were all students from the same university. They were on their way to be city's safe zone, but they ran into zombies in front of them. Who knew that when they ran back, there would be zombies behind them as well? There was no way to escape. Among the three, the leader was called Qing Yu. He was quite handsome. The other one was very tall and thin, called Lin Feng. His nickname was Crazy. There was also a fatty called Xiao Pang. There are a lot of zombies in front? Shi Sheng only picked what he wanted to hear and ignored the rest. Qing Yu nodded. Otherwise, we wouldn't have run back. They didn't know what was going on, but there were a lot of zombies in front of them. Is B City in this direction? Without a GPS or a map, she wondered if she had taken the wrong path. Otherwise, why would they take so long to reach their destination? It should be. Qing Yu wasn't very sure. Shi Shang. He saved a piece of trash. So she only saved them to ask for directions? Hashtag the host's brain circuit is really too weird. Hashtag Qing Yu broke out in a cold sweat when Shi Shang looked at him like he was looking at a piece of trash. Did he say something wrong? This girl had a strange ball on her body that was comparable to a bomb. He didn't dare to provoke her. Shi Shang turned around and walked away. Qing Yu and the other two looked at each other and called out to Shi Shang. Miss, we also want to go to B City. Why don't we go together? This girl was dressed very cleanly and had such a powerful weapon. It would be very safe to go with her. I don't work as a free bodyguard, Shi Shang said indifferently. The three people. How confident was this girl? Okay, she had the right to be confident. The three people were a little disappointed, but they didn't continue to pester her. Instead, they went to clean up their dead companions' bodies. I thought we could go to the safe zone together. Qing Yu looked at the simple mound, his expression somewhat downcast. These people were all his classmates. Before the apocalypse, they had only attended classes together. They couldn't be considered good friends, but after the apocalypse, they had walked together and formed a revolutionary friendship. Boss. Lin Feng patted Qing Yu's shoulder and comforted him. We still have to go. Don't be too sad. The apocalypse is too cruel. Little Fatty cried, I want to eat Jinji's braised pig trotters, roast duck. F***K, you're still thinking about eating at this time. You're so useless. Lin Feng slapped the back of Little Fatty's head. I'm afraid I won't have the chance to eat it in my lifetime. Fatty didn't quarrel with Lin Feng. Instead, he stared blankly ahead. Lin Feng's expression changed as he murmured, There will be a chance. She didn't know if she was saying it to herself, or to Little Fatty and Qing Yu. The three of them adjusted their mentality and said their final goodbyes to their classmates. No matter what, they had to live on for themselves, for their families, and for those who had lost their lives protecting them on the road. The three of them thought that Shi Shang had left, but she was still standing in the traffic jam in the distance. They didn't know what she was talking about, but she looked very excited. In front of her stood a young man holding a white cat. The white cat bared its fangs and cried out. It kept scratching the young man, but the young man held it tightly. Shi Shang reached out to grab the white cat, but the young man suddenly took a few steps back and threw the white cat away. He looked at Shi Shang innocently. Then, they saw Shi Shang pointing at the young man for a few seconds. She seemed very angry, and finally went to pick up the white cat angrily. Shi Shang found a car nearby that could still be driven, but it didn't have much gas. Shi Shang looked at the cars on the ground and was a little worried. She always changed cars before because she didn't seem to know how to get gas from other cars. The omnipotent host finally has something she doesn't know how to do. The system is very happy, but it's nothing to be proud of. Shi Shang walked around a car. She looked at Qian Li, who was staring at the white tiger. Both sides were in a state of war. It was impossible to count on a cat and a zombie. She looked into the distance and saw Qing Yu and the other two. Her eyes turned and she waved at them. The three of them eagerly ran over. I'll take you to B City. Before they could say anything, Shi Sheng said, but you'll have to take care of the daily necessities on the way. She didn't like to be with other people, but she still had to maintain world peace. She couldn't do it alone. The three of them seemed to have good temperament and didn't lose their humanity because of the apocalypse. The three of them, who didn't know that they were being treated as underlings, happily agreed and quickly got to work. The three of them were weak. If they encountered zombies, they could only wait for death. Shi Shang was a walking ammunition depot in their eyes. The damage he could do was definitely their biggest guarantee. Because there were too many people, the car that Shi Shang chose was abandoned and replaced with an off-road vehicle. However, the off-road vehicle was blocked by a few cars. They needed to clear the cars in front of them before they could drive out. Just as they were about to clear the car, the off-road vehicle suddenly disappeared. The three of them were shocked and looked like they had seen a ghost. Honk, honk. Suddenly, a car horn sounded in front of them. The three of them looked up. The off-road vehicle had appeared in front of them without them noticing. The young man was gone. Shi Shang was standing beside the driver's seat with his hand on the window. The sound came from there. "Boss, does she have a space power?" Lin Feng swallowed. "She didn't come over just now." Qing Yu frowned and shook his head. Before the car disappeared, he had looked at her side. She hadn't left. However, the young man beside her had been standing beside her the whole time. "Are you guys leaving or not?" Shi Shang was getting impatient. She pressed the horn furiously and shouted at them. The three of them came back to their senses. They ran to Shi Shang and got into the car. Sitting in the front passenger seat was a very good-looking young man. Previously, they found it strange that this young man was unbelievably clean. At this time, the weather was very cold, but he was only wearing a white long-sleeve sweater, black casual pants, and a pair of sports shoes. He was dressed like an ordinary student. "Well, do you have a space power?" Lin Feng couldn't help but ask Shi Shang as the car drove steadily. "No." Lin Feng looked at Qing Yu. Qing Yu shook his head slightly. Lin Feng stopped asking. Shi Shang looked at them through the rearview mirror. They were just sitting there quietly. They didn't talk much and looked very calm. "The one with a space power is a white tiger." "Look, it's that cat," Shi Shang said. Obviously, the three of them didn't expect Shi Shang to say it himself. After a moment of surprise, they looked at the white cat lying beside Shi Shang. WTF? This cat actually had the ability to manipulate space? How could an animal have such a precious power? Their worldview seemed to have been refreshed. Asterisk, when do you want to update? Chapter 94. Along the way, Qing Yu and the other two were completely shocked by Shi Shang. Other than the purple ball that could explode, she also had an iron sword. That iron sword could cut through zombies like it was cutting through carrots. After being shocked for a while, they got used to it. The only thing they didn't understand was the young man. He didn't do anything and had a disgusted expression when he ate. It was as if he wasn't eating precious food but something disgusting. Every time they saw that expression, the other three had the urge to beat him up. Food was the most precious thing in the apocalypse. Many people starved to death and many people killed for food. They lost their conscience and humanity. However, they realized that he didn't seem to have a high IQ, so they had to suppress that urge. Luckily, they didn't travel for long. B City wasn't far from them. After walking for about 3 days, they saw the gate of B City's safe zone. It was already the 56th day of the apocalypse and the safe zone had a clear system in place. "Are you guys leaving or following me?" Shi Shang asked the 3 people in the back seat while letting White Tiger pack up. She had observed them for the past few days and found that the 3 of them were good people. Even when they saw that she had a lot of food, they didn't have any other thoughts other than drooling. However, it was up to them to decide whether they wanted to stay or not. "Miss Gu, what do you mean?" Qing Yu's heart raced when she heard Shi Shang's question. "I need people to work for me. If you guys are willing to stay, then you're one of us. Maybe in the future." Shi Shang paused and didn't continue. She glanced at Qian Li. Qian Li turned back and grinned at Shi Shang. Hungry. Shi Shang was speechless. Hungry my ass. Do you have any other skills besides eating? Qing Yu and the other two talked for a while and expressed their willingness to stay. After interacting with each other for a few days, they admired her from the bottom of their hearts. She was a little girl, but she was calmer than them. Moreover, she was the one who saved them. Even if it was to repay her for saving their lives, they wouldn't reject her. Boss, since we're on the same side, can you tell me what kind of sword you have? Lin Feng immediately changed his words and shamelessly asked the question he had been wanting to ask for a long time. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the iron sword could cut through iron like mud. The sword of justice, Shi Shang said solemnly. We'll depend on it to save the world. Lin Feng was speechless. She sounded so serious that he almost believed her. Is it really okay for you to be so childish? Shi Shang told the three of them a few rules. As her people, they had to follow her rules. But to Qing Yu and the other two, this rule was actually very simple. It could be summed up in 4 words. Listen to her. Get out. Shi Shang got out of the car with White Tiger in his arms. After Shi Shang got out of the car, Qianli immediately opened the door and got out. There were many people lining up outside the safe zone waiting to enter. Shi Shang and the others were already at the back of the line. They had to stretch their necks to look at the entrance of the safe zone. The people here were very cautious and vigilant. Some were looking at them greedily, but most of them were filled with despair. This was the most common type of person after the apocalypse. Even if they entered the safe zone, they would not be able to survive for long. How long is this line going to take? Little Fatty ran back from the front. The line in front is very long. Some of them have been here for 4 to 5 days and still haven't entered. There's no passage for mutants? Shi Shang frowned slightly. No matter which safe zone it was, there would always be a special passage for mutants to be checked. Ah, I forgot to check. I'll go take a look. Little Fatty said and ran towards the safe zone. Shi Shang was speechless. Was it the right choice for her to keep the 3 of them here? B City was such a large safe zone, so naturally there would be passageways prepared for ability users. Her 3 new underlings were all ability users. Shi Shang didn't want to expose her strange ability, so she and Qianli were only stripped of their clothes and checked to make sure they didn't have any wounds before being quarantined for 24 hours before being allowed to enter. It was also at this time that the 3 of them realized that their new boss had never used her ability. Previously, she was too violent. She did not even need to use her ability to kill zombies, so they had forgotten about it. Because of this, the 3 of them were even more determined to follow Shi Shang. While Shi Shang was locked up in the little black room, the 3 underlings had already found a place to stay. They also knew everything about the safe zone. Now that the safe zone used crystal nuclei to trade, they had killed many zombies along the way and had a lot of crystal nuclei. Therefore, when Qing Yu was looking for a place to stay, she also found a 3-bedroom suite. Shi Shang realized that other than the glutton Little Fatty, Qing Yu and Lin Feng were also very useful. Boss, should we register a mercenary group? Lin Feng said excitedly. The missions that a mercenary group takes will be higher level than normal mutants. With Boss's ability, I think it won't be a problem for you to take on an S-rank mission. The thing I asked you to find out, did you find out? Shi Shang ignored Lin Feng and looked at Qing Yu instead. Qing Yu nodded. Yes, Qi Mingxue is a dual ability user. She is the vice captain of the Hurricane Mercenary team. She has a good reputation in the safe zone. Dual ability. Shi Shang was surprised. In the storyline, Qi Mingxue was only an ice ability user. Yes, she was originally an ice ability user. Later on, she awakened a healing ability. This ability is even more precious than a space ability. If normal people are caught by zombies, they won't turn into zombies if they are treated in time by a healing ability user. When she said this, a yearning look appeared on Qing Yu's face. If there were more healing ability users, there wouldn't be so many people caught by zombies and turned into zombies. Seeing the expression on Qing Yu's face, Shi Shang sighed in his heart. This child needed more brainwashing so that he would not be soft-hearted when doing things for her in the future. Shi Sheng knew very well what Qi Mingshue's healing ability was. The spring in her space had healing abilities. However, in the storyline, she didn't make it public. Why now? Boss, why are you asking about her? Lin Feng didn't understand. She is now a celebrity in the safe zone. I heard that her ability is already at level 3. Oh, I want to find some entertainment for her. Shi Sheng narrowed his eyes and smiled. That smile was sinister and made the other three feel disgusted. How did Qi Mingxue provoke their boss? I'm hungry. Qianli moved to Shi Sheng's side and stuffed her hand into his mouth. When they first saw this scene, the three of them were disillusioned. What a good-looking young man. In the end, he was an idiot. Shi Sheng brought Qianli back to his room. Qianli was only half full after almost using up all his energy. He hugged Shi Sheng and rubbed his face against hers. Then, he let go of her and sat in the corner by the window. Shi Sheng sighed and carried him to the bed. You don't have to keep watch. Hug, Shi Sheng. To be honest, it's so sad that none of you voted. Chapter 95. In the end, Shi Sheng followed Lin Feng's suggestion and registered a mercenary team. He used a very arrogant name. Fight me if you can't. To be honest, the three of them didn't want such a silly name. However, their rejection was useless. Shi Sheng had been collecting experience points for the past month and put the name, Fight Me If You Can, under the Hurricane Mercenary Group. Of course, her target was definitely on the list. Everyone was very curious about this mercenary group. The information of mercenary group members was not allowed to be disclosed to the public except for the officials of the safe zone. Therefore, other than the officials, no one knew who this Fight Me If You Can was. According to the mission time on the mission board, they either accepted missions in the middle of the night or early in the morning. They were completely different from the others. Have you ever seen such a strange mercenary group? No way. Moreover, this mercenary group had caught up with the Hurricane Mercenary Group in just a month. How could they not be curious? However, the truth was, Qing Yu and the other two were afraid that their silly mercenary group would be beaten up once their name was revealed. In order to avoid people from accepting missions, they used all kinds of methods. Was it easy for them? Boss, there's a SS-level mission. Do you want to accept it? In the past, the missions that appeared were all S-level. This was the first time a double S-level mission appeared. What mission? I'm not sure. They said that they would only tell you if you accept it. This mission is directly issued to the mercenary groups on the ranking list. It won't appear in the mission hall. No. Shi Sheng shook his head. In this situation, the officials were probably playing tricks. But the rewards are very good. Lin Feng felt that it was a pity. Lin Feng made it sound as if she had mistreated them. Do you lack food or crystal cores? Lin Feng shook his head. They didn't lack these things at all. Recently, they had collected a lot of resources when they were out on missions. They didn't know how big White Tiger's space was, but it could always be filled. The only bad thing was, White Tiger liked to fill the space with zombies. Even if Lin Feng stopped it, it would still do it happily. Fortunately, the things it took out from White Tiger's space didn't seem to be contaminated by zombies. Go and find out when they're leaving. Huh? I thought we didn't accept it? What does it have to do with you? Lin Feng was speechless. He had a feeling that something bad was about to happen. In the past month, they had learned a lot from Shi Sheng. Don't be soft-hearted. Mind your own business. Don't pay attention to what other people say. The last sentence was Shi Sheng's original words. Until now, Lin Feng could still remember Shi Sheng's expression. There was mockery in his disdain. But there was more contempt and disgust. To be honest, he couldn't describe that feeling. The mission was highly confidential. Lin Feng spent a lot of effort to find out about it, but it was only some basic information. The target of the mission was D County. It was led by the Army of the Safe Zone, and everyone had signed a confidentiality agreement. The Hurricane mercenary team also participated in this mission, but not many of them went. Song Shi, Qi Mingxue, Zhao Jing, Su Jie, and a large, dark-skinned man. The rest of the mercenary groups were clearly elites as well. Shi Shang sat in the off-road vehicle and watched those people get into the military truck from afar. What was there in D County that made people from the safety sector go through so much trouble? Lin Feng had prepared a map beforehand, so Shi Shang arrived at D County earlier than the rest of the team. D County was an ancient county. Before the apocalypse, it was a 5A scenic spot. When the apocalypse happened, it was the peak tourist season, so the number of zombies in D County was definitely unimaginable. When they were close to D County, Qian Li suddenly became irritable. The nails that he had retracted suddenly grew, and a primitive roar came from his throat. Meow! The white tiger's sharp cry sounded in the car. Zombified. Qing Yu reacted the fastest. She cried out and was about to attack Qian Li. Shi Shang was stunned by Qian Li's sudden change. When he heard Qing Yu's cry, he reacted and shouted at the three people behind him, "Don't attack him." Bang! Crash! Just as Shi Shang was shouting at Qing Yu and the others, Qian Li smashed open the car window and ran towards D County. He was very fast and even used teleportation. Before Shi Shang got out of the car, Qian Li had already disappeared. F***ck. He ran away again. Raising a naughty child was much better than raising a zombie emperor. At least the naughty child would say hello before running away. Boss. The three people in the car stared blankly at Shi Shang. What's going on? That young man was actually a zombie? They actually lived with a zombie for so long. They couldn't think of anything at all. As you can see, Qian Li is a zombie. Shi Shang calmly said as he looked at the walls of D County. There was no nervousness or anger from being found out that she was raising a zombie. They would find out about this sooner or later. If they couldn't accept it, then it was better to let them leave as soon as possible. Qing Yu had obviously been trained well by Shi Shang in the past month. She was the first to accept it. Qian Li is a zombie. Why is he different from other zombies? Their boss was so powerful that she could even tame zombies. They had to follow her. So this was all the fault of blind worship. There were already level 3 zombies, but those zombies were just a little better at using their abilities. Their bodies weren't much different from normal zombies. But Qian Li was different. He was completely like a normal person. How was he like a zombie? Then he's also a zombie. Qing Yu. Boss's answer always made people speechless. Boss, you actually let a zombie live and eat with us. Lin Feng reacted and howled. He hugged Qing Yu and shook him with a face full of pain. A zombie. That's a zombie. When I think of living with a zombie under the same roof for a month. Do you want to die? Lin Feng's reaction was a little out of Shi Shang's expectations. His focus was completely wrong. As for little fatty, he only had eyes for food. There was a lot of good food to eat with Shi Shang. Furthermore, his ex-boss had already accepted it. What was there for him to worry about? Lin Feng stopped howling and said with a face full of determination, "Boss, don't worry. We won't tell anyone that your boyfriend is a zombie." Qing Yu nodded in agreement. Yes. Boss, don't worry. Qian Li is pretty good. He won't attack us. Actually, zombies aren't that scary. Little Fatty squinted his little eyes and nodded. Yes, Qian Li doesn't eat much. I thought those novels where my girlfriend is a zombie were fake. So it's real. Boss, you're amazing. Who told you that he was Ai's boyfriend? What were you guys thinking? Shi Shang felt that he was thinking too much. These three were able to maintain their humanity in the apocalypse. They were obviously not normal people. Boss, your boyfriend just went in like that. Aren't we going to chase after him? What if he takes a liking to a female zombie? God damn it, I already said that he wasn't Ai's boyfriend. What kind of joke is this about taking a liking to a female zombie? Asterisk 1300 plus recommendation votes is even better. Chapter 96. Shi Shang did not enter D County. Other than the first time, Qian Li's situation happened again. She knew that he was going to level up. After leveling up, he would come back to find her. Therefore, she completely ignored the chattering of the three beasts behind her. The sex life of zombies. To be honest, if she could, she really wanted to throw the three of them into a pile of zombies. What kind of F***king topic was this? Shouldn't you guys be discussing how she, as a human, can make zombies listen to her? That kind of awesome topic. I don't really understand how these humans think. The people from B City's safety zone came slowly. Shi Shang and the others waited for half a day before a few green trucks stopped outside D County. The leader was someone they knew, Chong Xian. They split up and entered D County together. Shi Shang followed them from a distance. Crazy, did you notice that these zombies don't seem to attack us? Qing Yu pushed Lin Feng. After being reminded by Qing Yu, Lin Feng looked around. The zombies around them were following them from a distance. None of them attacked. The two of them looked at the girl walking in front of them. She looked like she was strolling in the back garden. The only explanation was that she was the one. The two of them looked at each other and pulled little Fatty closer to Shi Shang. After entering D County, Chong Xian split them up. Shi Shang naturally followed Qi Mingxue. Qi Mingxue took the initiative and had a cheat. She was the first person to reach level 3. However, Song Shi was not bad either. The two of them cooperated very well. They killed zombies with half the effort. Soon, they arrived at a building. It looked like some kind of research institute. They cleared out the zombies layer by layer. There were not many people, so no one cleaned up the battlefield. Shi Shang and the others followed behind and cleaned up the battlefield. They did not leave a single crystal behind. These people cleaned up until they reached their target. When they took out the things, they found that the crystal cores were gone. Before they could figure out what happened, they found that the place they just cleaned up was filled with zombies again. It was as if the zombies were refreshed regularly. Why are there so many zombies? Didn't you leave anyone behind? Su Jie looked at the group of people behind them. Those people looked at the people around them. What they meant was, didn't you leave anyone behind? No, I thought you did. You didn't leave anyone behind? They had all thought that the other party would spare their men, but in the end, not a single one of them remained. This was awkward. F***ck. Su Jie's doll-like face was filled with rage. Cut the crap. Hurry up and kill them. Song Shi coldly glanced at the others and took the initiative to release a few lightning bolts. Just as they were about to kill their way out, a level 4 fire-breathing zombie appeared out of nowhere. The level 4 zombie also summoned a lot of underlings. Song Shi and Qi Mingxue were unable to kill it even after working together. Everyone was trapped in that building. Shi Shang also ran into trouble after he left the building. First, she was chased by a level 4 fire-breathing zombie. Her ability was probably not at level 4, so it didn't have much effect on level 4 zombies. Fortunately, it was still able to affect it. The few of them barely managed to escape. Shi Shang wanted to blow up the zombie, but it was too close to the male and female leads, so the system stopped her. She didn't run far before she ran into the level 4 zombie again. Moreover, Chong Xian was leading a group of people. She didn't know what was wrong with Chong Xian, but he actually brought people to her. There were too many of them, and she wasn't alone, so she was forced to mix with them. Now, she was forced to return to Qi Mingxue's building. There were many zombie corpses in the hall, but they were all piled up together. A fire ability user was burning them. Qi Mingxue and Song Shi weren't there, but the doll-like Su Jie was. It's you. Su Jie recognized Shi Shang the moment she came in. Shi Shang coldly swept a glance at him, causing Su Jie to stop in his tracks. Her gaze was too cold, as though it was made up of some kind of mechanical thing. It made people's hair stand on end. It was even colder than their captain's gaze. Qing Yu and the others knew that Shi Shang was in a bad mood right now. Whoever touched him would be unlucky. They all pretended not to see anything. Some looked at the ceiling, some looked at the floor, some looked at the ceiling, and some looked at the floor. Those who wanted to eat wanted to eat. Chong Xin did a head count before turning to Shi Sheng. Captain Gu, your team doesn't seem to have accepted a mission. Why are you here? As the culprit, Chong Xin wasn't apologetic at all. Instead, he was aggressive. Shi Shang was furious now, so his tone naturally wasn't pleasant. What? Has D County been contracted? Only those who have accepted a mission can come here? That's not what I meant. Chong Xin was embarrassed, but he immediately said seriously, Captain Gu, can you tell me why you're here? The mission this time was extremely confidential, and D County had long been confirmed to be destroyed, so no one would come here. Chong Xin was a member of the military, so he naturally had the right to access official information. He knew that she was the captain of the Bufu mercenary group. In addition, they had interacted before, so he was suspicious of Shi Sheng. What if I don't say it? Shi Shang looked at Chong Xin provocatively. When Shi Shang was angry, he was definitely the kind of person who was more unreasonable than others. He wouldn't give anyone face. In his words, he earned his own face. He didn't need others to give it to him. Chong Xin was speechless. They're also a mercenary group? How rude. Newborn calves aren't afraid of tigers. Hearing the conversation between the two, someone began to mutter. They must have some skills to be able to come here. Which mercenary group have you heard of having such a good-looking girl? Captain Chong just called her captain, right? People who had been through D County knew best how many zombies there were. They all expressed that they had never heard of such an arrogant girl in any mercenary group. Some people had seen the people behind her before, but they never communicated with others. No one knew which mercenary group they belonged to. Captain Chong, which mercenary group is she from? Even if the people who accepted this mission didn't know their names, they had seen each other face to face. Many of them had even cooperated with each other before. At this time, a girl and 3 young people suddenly appeared and came here safely. Whether it was out of curiosity or something else, these people wanted to know who they were. If you're not convinced, let's fight. Chong Xion's voice was a bit loud. The person who asked the question was stunned. If you're not convinced, let's fight? Captain Chong, I don't think I'm not convinced. He was just asking which mercenary group they were from. If you're not convinced, let's fight? F***CK. No way. They were from the, if you're not convinced, mercenary group? The mysterious mercenary group that was close to the Hurricane mercenary group in a month? She's the captain of, if you're not convinced? She looks like 17 or 18 years old. Are you kidding me? Captain Chong, are you joking with us? I don't care if you believe it or not. I don't believe it. Although the name, if you're not convinced, sounded a bit Chinibu, their completion rate was 100%. How could they be a few young people? And the leader was a girl. Someone said weakly, but they arrived here safe and sound. Asterisk please vote, monthly votes, recommendation votes 1200 plus more. Chapter 97. It only took half a month for the Hurricane mercenary team to become famous. After that, they occupied the first place on the leaderboard for many years. As for the Sikh mercenary team, they were already on the leaderboard when they became famous. No one had ever heard of them before. This could only mean that the missions they took could only be completed by a single mercenary team. That was the only way they could avoid contact with other people. However, the rewards for these kinds of missions were never high. Very few mercenary teams would accept them. Most of them were unorganized superpowered people who formed temporary teams or completed them alone. Taking these kinds of missions and not letting the mercenary team survive showed that they were quite capable. The past few months of living in the apocalypse had taught them one thing: they should never underestimate women and children. Chong Xian took a deep breath. Captain Gu, this mission requires absolute confidentiality. I hope you can give me a clear answer. If you refuse to answer, then I can only kill you right here. He gestured to the people around him. Immediately, people surrounded Shi Shang and the others. The others retreated to the side and watched as if it had nothing to do with them. Captain Chong. Qing Yu hurriedly stepped forward. However, before he could finish his sentence, he was pulled back by Shi Shang. Boss, they have more people. Let's lower our heads first. Qing Yu knew that Shi Shang was furious. However, there were so many superpowered people here. They were at a disadvantage. Lower our heads? Shi Shang snorted. His face was full of arrogance. It's always others who lower their heads to me. Since when did it become my turn to lower my head? Qing Yu was speechless. Come on, boss. Can't you pick a time to be so childish? Shi Shang's voice wasn't low. Not only did Chong Xian hear it, but the people outside also heard it. The people outside whistled. Obviously, they were amused by Shi Shang's fearless behavior. They had seen many girls like this. Did they think they were still in the pre-apocalypse world, where they could make people revolve around them just because they had some money? This was a world where strength was the most important thing. This mysterious sick mercenary team was just a... However, more people thought that there was someone behind these young people. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Ah! Run, zombies are coming in. A sudden voice broke the strange atmosphere. The voice came from the second floor. Captain Chong gave up on talking to Shi Shang and looked up. A few figures dashed down from the second floor. Qi Mingxue and Song Shi were among them. Sure enough, wherever the female lead goes, there will be trouble. Behind them was a zombie that could spit fire. Shi Shang frowned slightly. This zombie was different from the one from before. Holy *T. How many level 4 zombies were there? Go to the basement. Quick, quick, let's go. They couldn't deal with level 4 zombies at all, so they could only run. The basement was opened by Chong Xian, and it was also opened by his men. Shi Shang was still forced to run along. Close the door. But there are still people who haven't come in yet. F***, we're all going to die if we wait any longer. Hurry up and close the door. The soldier controlling the door looked at Chong Xian. Chong Xian looked at the people outside who couldn't enter in time and nodded with difficulty. The heavy metal door closed, isolating them from the outside sounds. Rather than a basement, it was more like an underground laboratory. The emergency lights here could still be used. Although the light wasn't very bright, everyone could see clearly. What's going on? How did a level 4 zombie get in? We clearly checked. There's no way to get in from upstairs. The people below all looked at the people coming down from the second floor. At this time, only 4 people came down from the second floor. Qi Mingxue and Song Shi were naturally among them. One of them turned pale and said with lingering fear, It's Wong Tuesday. F***, I knew we shouldn't have let him come. He can't do anything right. Obviously, Wong Tu didn't have a good reputation. As soon as that person said that, the group of people immediately cursed angrily. Shi Shang was still surrounded by Chong Xian's men. He was too obvious a target. Qi Mingxue saw him at first glance. Shi Shang looked at Qi Mingxue without fear. He even curled the corners of his mouth provocatively at her. That smile was malicious, but his eyes were calm and cold. Qi Mingxue felt her scalp go numb, as if she was being stared at by a huge beast. Shi Shang looked away first. The moment he looked away, Qi Mingxue let out a heavy sigh of relief. She almost couldn't breathe just now. Is it safe here? This is a laboratory. What is that? A human body. Come over and take a look. What are those things? Holy shit. Chong Xian wanted to stop them, but it was too late. Everyone looked over. The place was very big. There were many machines. There were several glass jars with many tubes on them. The jars were filled with a yellow liquid. In the liquid was a person. It wasn't accurate to say that it was a person. Half of his face had turned into a zombie, but the other half was still that of an ordinary person. It looked like a zombie and a human forcibly put together. What is this? It's so disgusting. Didn't this place collapse at the beginning of the apocalypse? Did these things exist before the apocalypse? Oh my God, don't tell me these people made these disgusting things. Shi Shang's eyes swiveled as she surveyed the group before looking at Chong Xian with schadenfreude. Tiske, Captain Chong, what are you going to do now? Silence them. Oh, what a pity. You don't have as many people as they do. You can't beat them. His voice immediately attracted everyone's attention. They all gathered around Chong Xian. Captain Chong, shouldn't you give us an explanation for these things? We risked our lives to come here to get the so-called important documents, but this is what you showed us? Captain Chong, please explain. Are those things out there really made by the government? Captain Chong. Chong Xian glared at Shi Shang. I don't know what these things are either. I'm just following orders. Don't focus on these things. We should focus on how to get out. Captain Chong, if you don't know what these things are, how did you know there was an underground laboratory here? Shi Shang continued to find fault with him. Chong Xian continued to glare at him. He gritted his teeth and answered, When I came here, the higher-ups gave me the information. I have the building plans of this place. If you have the building plans, why didn't you give them the building plans before? Captain Chong, I think you want them to be the vanguard and clean up this place for you. The mission you gave them was just a cover-up, right? Gu Nan, don't be an alarmist. I don't know anything. Chong Xian roared at Shi Shang angrily. He was a soldier. He had to obey the orders of the higher-ups. Besides, this was for the sake of humanity. You're angry because you're embarrassed. That means I'm not wrong. Besides, are they brainless? Am I right? They don't know how to think for themselves? Do you think they're pigs? Asterisk 1,200 recommendation votes. Chapter 98. After Shi Shang finished sowing discord, he immediately stopped talking and let those people argue. Chong Xian's people all went to help Chong Xian, so naturally, Shi Shang was free. Boss, you're amazing. Qing Yu silently gave Shi Shang a thumbs up. Did the zombies outside really come from the ZF? God, it's so scary just thinking about it. Boss, give me something to eat. I need to gain some weight and calm down. Little Fatty stretched out his chubby hand in front of Shi Shang. Fatty, your last sentence is the main point. Lin Feng, who had seen through someone, immediately exposed him. But, this place does look very strange. Shi Shang threw the backpack to Little Fatty. There was nothing inside, only the white tiger. Boss, it's not like we can't get out, right? Lin Feng began to worry again. With Boss here, we can definitely get out. Qing Yu blindly worshipped him. Don't worry, Little Fatty. Aren't you afraid that you'll die from eating alone? Give it to Boss. Lin Feng thought about it and agreed. There was nothing that Boss couldn't do. Clearly, they had forgotten that when they first met, their omnipotent boss didn't even know how to pump gasoline. Shi Shang didn't eat much and only drank a bottle of milk. While those people were arguing, Shi Shang took the opportunity to walk around the laboratory. There weren't many things here, but they weren't messy. It proved that these people didn't panic when they left. Shi Shang stopped in front of a blackboard with a few pieces of A4 paper pasted on it. Just as he was about to reach for it, a pair of hands beat him to it. Shi Shang looked at the hands. The owner of the hands was Song Shi. Gu Nan, what's the point of sowing discord between them? Song Shi's words were cold. Of course. Shi Shang smiled and nodded. I'm using facts to prove how stupid they are. Song Shi. Does this woman have antisocial tendencies? Shi. Cousin, why are you here? Qi Mingxue walked over from afar with a surprised look on her face as if she had just seen Shi Shang. Then, she lowered her head sadly, as if Shi Shang was bullying her. Ah Shi. I am also a shit. Shi Shang rolled his eyes. Don't call me that. If you want to suck up to me, you have to line up first. PFFF. Qing Yu, who just happened to come over, heard this and laughed in a very unkind manner. To be honest, the more he thought about it, the more he felt that his boss was seriously ill. Qi Mingxue's face instantly turned ugly, but she still pretended to be stubborn and said, Cousin, even if you don't like me, you don't have to humiliate me like this. When did I humiliate you? Did you hear that? Qing Yu played along and shook his head. His boss didn't like this girl, even though he thought she was quite pretty. But if boss didn't like it, he couldn't like it either. That was how unreasonable they were. Cousin Yu. Shi Shang suddenly grinned. Qi Mingxue, do you want to die? It's a luxurious package with a 20% discount. This is a rare opportunity. Do you want to experience it? Qing Yu. Boss, can you be a bit more normal? You were chatting when you suddenly asked if she wanted to die. Look at how scared she was. Gunan. Shi Shang finally couldn't stand it anymore and called out to her with a murderous aura. He didn't like this Gu Nan the first time they met, and he still didn't like this Gu Nan the second time they met. I'm just joking. Why are you guys so unhumorous? Shi Shang's face was full of smiles. Speaking of which, Qi Mingxue, you should keep some of your things tight. If I were you, I definitely wouldn't take them out. After all, those things are good for your abilities, right? Qi Mingxue didn't understand what Shi Shang was talking about at first, but in the end, how could Qi Mingxue not understand? He was talking about her personal space. She knew. How could she know? She had clearly taken it so long ago. Qi Mingxue panicked. Even if she had read the whole story, she knew how powerful the female lead's halo was. Moreover, before she transmigrated, she was just a normal person. Cousin, what are you talking about? Qi Mingxue said with a pale face. Then, she pulled Song Shi. Ah Shi, I'm not feeling well. Let's go over there and rest for a bit. Song Shi didn't take Shi Shang's words to heart, but Qi Mingxue's behavior made him take it seriously. This story was slow to get popular, and the male lead was a very high-profile character. Therefore, until now, Song Shi's impression of Qi Mingxue was still at the stage of admiring her. Shi Shang's words were undoubtedly a warning to Song Shi. He would unconsciously pay attention to Qi Mingxue, and he would definitely find something unusual. Qi Mingxue was afraid that Shi Shang would say something else, so she pulled Song Shi away. After Qi Mingxue left, Qing Yu came up from the background. Boss, look at this. He found a notebook from somewhere and flipped to a page. The paper was very old, and the words were a bit blurry. 1995, July 25th, torrential rain. This is already the 6th day of the torrential rain, and disasters have appeared in many places. I have no choice but to postpone our meeting. I really hope to see him soon. 1995, July 30th, cloudy today. I heard that we had a very strange corpse in the research lab. As for why it was strange, my colleagues couldn't explain it. That corpse seemed to have been there for many years, and it was closely guarded. I'm really curious. 1996, August 27th, Cloudy Eye joined a new research team. The research project is that mysterious corpse. The higher-ups made us all sign a confidentiality agreement, and no one is allowed to say a word about it out of the research lab. 1996, October 11th, Sunny's here. 1997, October 22nd, Cloudy Eye saw the corpse that we signed a confidentiality agreement for. I don't know how to describe it. It was very strange, and it made people feel very uncomfortable. However, the people in the research lab were very excited. I saw their expressions, and it was a strange feeling. The diary was intermittent, and it didn't record much about the corpse. However, every time it was described, it would be described as strange. Then, the author of the diary would use the words very uncomfortable or depressed to express his feelings. There was also a mention of a person who should be the author's favorite. Similarly, there wasn't much description, usually only a few words, and he was replaced by him. In the last few pages, there were even mottled bloodstains. 1998, July 6th, Rainy, I am pregnant, and I'm very happy. Maybe I'll have a cute son soon. Well, maybe a daughter. Whether it's a daughter or a son, I'll give them the best things in the world. 1998, July 18th, Rainy, I think they're all crazy. 1998, October 19th, Sunny, I want to escape. 1998, October 25th, Rainy, he'll help me, for the sake of the child. 1998, November 2nd, Sunny, I am ready, I can't let his child and me. The diary ended here. However, there was a name at the end that made Shi Shang stunned. Cheng Su, Gu Nan's mother. Shi Shang suddenly felt a little depressed. After all, this body belonged to the original female protagonist, and the background of this world must be very rich. No wonder she would activate a side mission. Asterisk 1200 recommendation votes plus more 1800 recommendation votes plus more next time. Chapter 99. Shi Shang put the notebook away. This wasn't part of the storyline, so she had to collect it herself. The corpse mentioned in Cheng Su's notebook might be the source of this disaster. Cheng Su must have escaped, given birth to the child, and sent it to Father Gu. According to Father Gu, Cheng Su's family shouldn't be poor. After all, she had given Mother Gu a large sum of money. A large sum of money in that era was definitely not a small sum. But who was the father of this body? And Cheng Su was from the capital. Why would she appear in a research institute in this small county? Shi Shang raised the palm and looked at it for a moment. The dim light couldn't penetrate the palm, so she couldn't see anything special. Maybe this body had some other secrets. After all, this was a plot in novels. Qi Mingxue stood in the corner, staring at Shi Shang with an ugly expression. Seeing him staring at the palm in a daze, she had a sudden impulse. Kill him. She thought that if she stole his golden finger, he would lead a miserable life, just like her, the original supporting female lead. But that wasn't the case. He seemed to be leading a good life. Every time she saw him, she felt like a joke. Her aura could never compare to him. Mingxue, what are you thinking about? Song Shi called out a few times, but Qi Mingxue didn't respond. He couldn't help but raise his voice, but there was more doubt in his heart. Nothing. Qi Mingxue shook her head frantically. Song Shi frowned, his thin lips pressed into a line. His gaze was deep and dark. Qi Mingxue smiled, but it seemed a little forced. I'm fine. I'm just a little sad to see my cousin looking at me with such hostility. Don't think too much. She's the one who doesn't appreciate your kindness. Qi Mingxue saw that Song Shi wasn't interested in Shi Shang, so her smile became more genuine. Mingxue, come and eat. Shi, do you want to eat? Mingxue smiled at the person over there, then asked Song Shi gently. You go first. I'm not that hungry. Qi Mingxue wanted to say something, but her eyes lingered between him and Shi Shang. In the end, she didn't say anything. She was afraid that she would attract his attention if she said too much. After Qi Mingxue left, Song Shi stood there without moving. Boss, look at what Gunan is doing. Su Jie had appeared beside him at some point and asked him to look in the direction of the Shi Shang. Song Shi glanced in the direction of the Shi Shang. She was standing on tiptoe as if to take down the picture hanging on the wall. It was a very strange painting. It was like a child's random doodle, with red and green colors mixed together. It was indeed strange for it to be hung in such a solemn place. Someone called out to Song Shi. When he turned around to look, there was no one there. Shi Shang took the painting back to Qin Yu and the others and tossed it to Qin Yu. Boss, what is this? National treasure? Lin Feng leaned forward to take a look. The corners of his mouth twitched. Boss, where did you find this child's doodle? Shi Shang rolled his eyes at Lin Feng and turned to ask Qing Yu, where did you find that notebook? Oh, it was in the utility room over there. There are a lot of things in there. They look quite old. I don't know if the people here were too lazy to clean them up or what. Shi Shang looked in the direction Qing Yu was pointing. There was a small door that was half open. The light couldn't reach there, so it looked dark. According to Chang Su's diary, the people here weren't allowed to take anything out. The things inside should have belonged to the people who had worked in this laboratory before. There were indeed a lot of things inside, but they were all small things. There were teacups, pillows, candy boxes. There were all kinds of things. Shi Shang didn't find anything useful. When he went out, Chong Xian's show had already ended. He didn't know how Chong Xian had comforted these people, but they had all calmed down. Chong Xian seemed to want to cause trouble for him, but he was stopped by someone. He didn't know what that person said, but Chong Xian's face turned ugly. Then, he looked at Shi Shang and the others who were occupying one side of the laboratory. Shi Shang glanced over and smiled in schadenfreude. Boss, what are you laughing at? Little Fatty was a blockhead. Other than eating enthusiastically, the rest of the time, he was just a blockhead. Seeing Shi Shang smile, he asked in a very wooden manner. Did you see that? Those people were probably bitten by zombies. They're probably going to turn into zombies. Shi Shang hadn't finished speaking when Little Fatty cried out, Then aren't we dead for sure? Boss, I haven't eaten the braised pork trotters from Jinji restaurant. I don't want to die. He really wanted to kill this fatty. I hadn't even finished speaking, so why was he shouting? Don't worry. Even if you're going to be bitten by zombies, you'll be the last one to be bitten. Why? Little Fatty didn't understand. Shi Shang laughed evilly. Because you have a lot of meat. You'll be the last one to be bitten. Little Fatty was speechless. Now wasn't the time to joke, boss. People were going to die. Boss isn't panicking, so why are you panicking? Didn't you see that there's a supernatural person with healing abilities over there? Lin Feng had always liked to bully Little Fatty. Naturally, he wouldn't hesitate to mock him. Ah. Little Fatty scratched his head and smiled shyly. Actually, I just wanted to eat something. Lin Feng was speechless. He was too serious in front of a foodie. Qi Mingxue was asked by Chong Xian to save the 3 people who had been bitten by zombies. These 3 people were ordinary people. If they were bitten, they would turn into zombies. Qi Mingxue was depressed. She didn't have any healing abilities. It was all because of her magical spring water. Moreover, she used to heal people in a separate space. Now that there were so many people, how could she take out the magical spring water? She had no choice but to spread the news. Previously, she had participated in a mission. If she didn't save them, they would all die. At that time, there were government officials in the mission. Naturally, she couldn't hide it. In the storyline, Shi Shang didn't come to fight this stupid mercenary team. Not only did Qi Mingxue not participate in that mission, but she also didn't participate in this mission. That was why she didn't expose herself. Miss Qi, please save them. Qi Mingxue said awkwardly, Captain Chong, I haven't recovered my ability yet. I'm afraid. With Shi Shang's words, Qi Mingxue didn't want to expose her magical spring water at all. The magical spring water did have the effect of improving one's ability. However, it was only effective for the first time. After that, the effect wouldn't be as great. Every time, she diluted it and gave it to others. Therefore, it didn't have any other effect except for dispelling the zombie poison. However, people were greedy now. She didn't know how many people would covet her magical spring water if it was exposed. Miss Qi, please save my brothers. I can give you anything you want. A supernatural person looked at Qi Mingxue pleadingly. Yes, Miss Qi. You're so kind. No one else can save them except you. Qi Mingshue's face turned pale. She looked at Song She for help. Mingxue needs a separate space to save people. She can't be disturbed. This place isn't suitable. I saw a storage room over there. We can use it. This rule had always been like this. They didn't have any other healing ability users, so they didn't know how to treat people bitten by zombies. Qi Mingxue needed a separate space to treat people, so no one found it strange. *Morning. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.